Good evening. I can't. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lost Caravan RPG and Impossible Landscapes, our Delta Green actual play. I am your handler. My name is Doc Rimbo. I use he, she, or they pronouns. And we are... there's a weird energy. I think it's because Hoop isn't here this week. Or not Hoop, Turk. I think it's because Turk isn't here this week, right? Because, does Turk keep us in line, you guys?
Yeah, kind of.
Kinda.
I mean, it's
grudgingly so.
It's
all I'm saying is that
he keeps us in line, but then we mess with him quite a bit.
Yes, it's true. We take that as an invitation
it's fun to get
yeah.
him out of line.
Yeah. Our chaos is focused on him.
Right, exactly. Anyway, we are glad that you're here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We are sponsored tonight by Epidemic Sound. Epidemic Sound is a music and sound effect subscription service that provides royalty-free music for you to use in all of your streams or videos or whatever you want to do. I use it myself. All the music you hear tonight comes from Epidemic Sound. And, of course, we're hosted by Lost Caravan RPG, which is a terrific place to find games and play games. I think, Lonnie, who you can correct me if I'm wrong, is our October casting call closed for one shots in October? It might be, but they go up all the time. So come on by and join our Discord if you want to keep track of that.
I think the Old God of Appalachia one closed, but I think we still have our October open for a few more days.
October one shots still open. So come on by if you're looking for a game to play. That is awesome. Let's take a moment to go around and meet our cast. It should take 1/5 shorter than usual because Turk's not here. And we will tell us who you are. Tell us what your agent name is, and then just something else about them, anything you want to share. And because she has a mouthful of food, and because she is one of my favorite people in the world, we're going to start right below me. I'm talking slower so she can finish chewing.
It's a salad. It's fine. It's going to be in my teeth.
Oh, God. I had a salad for lunch. Let us go down, and we will talk to the tallest person that I know. It's Liv. Hi, Liv. You're so tall.
I'm very tall. That's the first thing that people say about me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I want to make the joke so badly, but I can't.
Nope.
Anyway,
Nope.
hi, I'm playing.
Terms of service.
I know. I'm rattling against my cage.
Horror game.
That's why it's so horrific, because I'm rattling against the cage, foaming at the mouth, trying to make a joke, and it's just the worst stand-up. It's the worst version of SNL. Anyway, hi, I'm Liv. I use she, they pronouns. I'm just a goofy little guy.
Very tall.
Yeah, very tall. That's right. Goofy little guy, as in 6'4". I play my agent Margin, who is sort of the weirdo occult master of the group. I'm full of all the weird stuff, the weird knowledge. Love a good
and an author.
Yes, and an author. And that is legally all I'm allowed to say. Moving on to the next person.
There is a request in chat from Elsie that you two just add your heights together. So there you go. Yep, done. Let's keep on going around the circle. So Lonnie, who is also very tall and also very Lonnie. Lonnie, how are you? Tell us about the newly named Agent Mayday.
I am tall. I am Lonnie. I'm actually average, but we're just going to ignore that. And I have, changed my agent name from Abandoned to finally belong to MCEL officially as Agent Mayday, which is very exciting.
It's exciting now. Being a part of MCEL is exciting now. Just wait a few weeks.
Well, this is great because at the end of the day, if I don't want to be in an MCEL, I can just reclaim Agent Abandon and ditch. And
there you go.
Delta Green really can't do anything. They don't even know why I'm here. From what I've been able to gather.
When things get really weird on this case, Mayday is going to be like, fuck this. I'm going back to Chicago.
I will actually kill you.
Oh fuck.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, what do we need to know about Mayday? She's a historian.
She is a historian. She is still, I think, she's trying to grasp at straws, trying to figure out how to belong in this new group.
She's the new kid.
She's the new kid. She has to, stand up to the token bully a little bit and give him some
Turk.
sass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really intimidated that first
Mhm.
time. I can't help it.
Himbos are so intimidating. Yeah, I hear you.
Maple literally keeps him really close to her chest too, so he has
She
backup. There's too much.
It's true.
Too much to dissect there. But yeah, so she's gonna be awkward, but not in a hey, Lonnie's playing this character awkwardly. It's actually like she's still trying to figure out who she is here.
You're acting. You're role playing.
Whoa.
Okay. Oh man, this just opened up a lot of doors for me. I didn't realize you guys were all pretending. Okay.
I'm sorry. Did I ruin the illusion?
You did. You did. The facade comes down. Great. Thank you, Lonnie. I'm so glad you're here. Speaking of Agent Maple, who keeps our himbo close to their chest, Cyberella, hi.
Hi.
How are you? You're so tall in so many ways.
I am. I'm 6 foot energy. For an average sized person. But Agent Maple does in fact keep close to her heart. Just gonna bring
Should
it back
just put this up in his window.
I know,
in his
this is what I got.
window.
It's our Agent Maltese.
It's not
Wait, Agent Maltese!
Maltese.
But Agent Maple is an old hat at Delta Green. She's been around since the beginning, before it had an official name. And what we learned about her last time is that she has dropped acid at some point.
I love that. That's a good.
I don't
remember several points to be.
Also,
don't
not surprising
remember
at
the
all.
70s. Well, I don't remember the 70s. Okay, the 80s I remember, but the 70s, it's a blur. But yeah, so it's Agent Maple.
Thank you, Cyberella. That is wonderful, and I really think we should just put that picture of Maltese just up in the window when he's not here. We'll fix that later. We'll make Hoop do it. But going to the tallest person in the place where he lives. It's Colin. Hi, Colin.
Actually true. Actually.
Yes.
Yeah, that is. Hi, Justin.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi. How's your weirdo doing? How's your big mountain of a man?
Yeah. So So as Justin said, I am Colin, or Colleen, if you want to pronounce my name incorrectly. And I play Magnolia, who, as Justin said, is a big mountain of a man. And little fact about Magnolia this week, I'll just let him tell it. Hold on. Yeah, so after getting out of the military, I was gonna go into doing my buddy was starting a fertilizer business there for a while. That's gonna be my next big thing, I think. Nitrate fertilizer, and then he's got a truck so we could lay gravel on driveways too. That's probably where I think that's the next big thing for me, for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. Wonderful.
Oh, I want to also add two things. One, last week I misspoke and I listened and said that I was dishonorably discharged from the United States military. That is not correct. I was honorably discharged from the United States military. And second, I know I've talked the praises of Golden Corral many a time. However, just want to say, Waffle House is good too. And it's 24/7. Yes,
that's how I know you were in fucking Secret Ops or whatever, that you go to Waffle House and walk out with a meal.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin. And now let's go over to Turk. Oh, wait, we can't. Oh, well. What did happen last week? Last week, our agents, our Delta Green agents, went to a briefing with their handler, Agent Exeter, at a restaurant. For some of them, it was their first time meeting one another. The new kid was there, and everyone else kind of still getting used to one another. Exeter informed them that 3 individuals, Delta Green agents, were patients at a psychiatric facility there in Boston. And at one point, they had recently gone missing. And so those 3 people were unknown strangers to the members of the group. But Agent Exeter produced this picture of writing that was found on the wall of one of their bunks, of one of their cells, which mentioned the name Abigail Wright. And Abigail Wright, if you remember from season 1, was the missing person who started off that whole McAllister craziness. And so that rung a bell here and there, and that is the explanation he gave for why Emsel was brought in to investigate the Dorchester house. They know that the head doctor, the administrator of the Dorchester, named Dr. Dallin, Richard Dallin, is a Delta Green friendly who has worked with Delta Green before and is expecting them and knows who they are as agents, but nobody else in the hospital knows of Delta Green. And so he gave them cover stories as Massachusetts State Police. He gave them a telephone to call him if something goes wrong. He gave them a list of those names. He gave them that picture. He gave them a business card for Dr. Dallin, and he set them on their way, basically, right? But still, everything about this has been a little bit weird, has a little bit strange markings of ties to past cases, and it's just a little bit unsettling. So with that being said, this is a horror game. And tonight especially, we can be sure that it will include content relating to psychiatric care facilities, insanity mechanics, various numbers of psychological disorders, not to mention the usual stuff of violence and death and surreal horror. So if those aren't your thing, please take a break and step away whenever you need to. All of us are taking care of each other and using safety tools. I think that just about covers it, so it's time to play moody music. Here we go.
I do have one more fun fact about Agent Mayday.
Let's hear it.
She found out that calamari is not good the next day after it's been refrigerated.
Got it. Cold calamari? Was she eating it cold, or did she reheat it in the microwave?
You should have
Equally
eaten. You should have ordered the pig anuses. They reheat perfectly fine.
They do.
Did you reheat calamari in a hotel microwave, you fucking monster? You're
Like
the
how?
element here.
You just spilled it. Lonnie's character is the big bad evil guy of this season.
Oh,
Air
She's a
fryer.
monster.
now what do we do?
Air fryer at home acceptable. Microwave in the hotel. Honestly,
What
All
else
right,
was
everybody
I-
shut up and let's do horror.
All right,
Here come
In
horror.
horror, the bar's been set. It's real high.
Do I have to put on the scarier music? This is like the less scary playlist.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go a little bit scarier.
Let's
Here we
get
go.
spooky. Oh, you got. Ooh.
How's that?
Let's get spooky, bitch.
Let's get spooky. Deception is a right. Truth is a privilege. Innocence is a luxury. Knowledge is death. Born of the U.S. government's 1928 raid on the degenerate coastal town of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, the covert agency known as Delta Green opposes the forces of darkness with honor, but without glory. They, as far as you are concerned, do not exist. And if you were to find out what they find out, neither would you. Both in our game world and in the real world, we are back in the fall routine. Especially if you have kids, you know that life turns into, for many of us, a routine. You wake up, you take a shower, you get dressed, you send a flirty text to Turk, you go to work, you come home, you eat dinner. It might be the reason that people who are incarcerated or committed to institutions struggle so much to reacclimate to the real world. Because when our routines are disturbed, everything else seems equally unstable. our agents are entering a controlled environment today. But those of them who have been with Delta Green for a while know that there is something more frightening than a disturbed routine. And that's the disturbing possibility that your routine is an illusion. And that everything you've ever done has always been under the control of someone or something else. It is September 2nd, 2015. We have seen 2 cars pull up to the gates of the Dorchester House Psychiatric Facility in Clam Point, Massachusetts. It's a neighborhood of Boston. But after immediately pulling up, our resident himbo gets a call on the phone that there is a serious incident back in Boston, or back in New York. And so he has to turn and go immediately, leaving the 4 of you with 1 car. I believe it is Mayday's rental car. Is that right? I think that's right.
Did we drive my rental car? I thought it was.
It
I
was
was.
2
I thought I was in the
cars.
car with Magnolia and Maltese,
We took
and
my-
then
we took my truck.
yeah.
Got it. So we are in the Maple Mobile.
We discussed this
Mobile.
extensively last time.
And we zoom in on seeing these 4 individuals inside the car looking at the Dorchester house. From the outside, the Dorchester is, it still kind of looks like a school. And Mabel could tell you, because she did homework and dug some things up, that the Dorchester house was originally a school. And it has a large, solid facade, and then 3 wings stretching back like a capital E. All around the perimeter, there is a security fence made of heavy iron with inward-facing hooks to avoid people from trying to escape. And by a set of gates in that fence, there is a guardhouse. You are down the block. You've paused so Agent Maltese can take a call and turn and go, get back to the boys. And the rest of you are sort of left there. Do you discuss anything, or do you proceed into the hospital?
I mean, I think we're pretty ready to get in there, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Everyone has their IDs at the ready. I'm IA Officer Stafford. Just so you guys have it.
Stafford. Okay. Oh, I just realized we probably wouldn't do our. I was so
Yeah,
ready to
without
come
Turk.
up with names. No.
We won't do musician names.
Specifically 90s musician names. We're not in the 90s anymore.
Oh, if we're supposed to have done musician names, I could have switched it, but
No.
I forgot that.
We're not that MCell. We're a different MCell. We do what we want. Okay, so you said Stafford?
Stafford. I'll
Stafford.
put it in our chat for it. So.
Okay. I will be Agent Avon, because that's the first thing I thought of.
There's a place on these little state police ID badges for you to write that name down. It looks like it's supposed to be written by hand, like you know, they're disposable or something like that. So you can write, I guess it would be Officer Avon or Detective Avon would work. What about Mayday? What would she come up with?
What would be a good, like, cop designation? That would be, like, probably someone who stays at the desk a little bit more, just so she doesn't have to, like, pretend to know all the jargon of everything.
It could be for state police. It could be officer, or just.
You could be a deputy. That now skews a little bit of your, greenness.
Yeah. Deputy, Deputy
Morris. Okay.
and we will let.
Good one, Margin. You're good on the fly. I like that.
Thanks.
It's almost like you write books or something.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's you gotta pull names out of your ass, or those baby listicles. Those are super helpful too.
And we'll let Magnolia decide when he's back. So you all have names. You have your badges. You all, I would assume, are dressed as you would expect officers of the law to dress. A casual wear, like, it's not, you're not in uniforms, but you are plain clothes. And you proceed to the gatehouse in the car. There's parking inside, you can see. And who's driving this thing?
Well, I have driving my vehicle is the ever competent, Margin, who hasn't driven in forever, but probably still doing better than the old lady who's been sleeping this whole time.
Okay. So, Margin, you pull up to this gatehouse. It's a little one-room gatehouse right next to that fence. And there is a guy inside. It says, "Hi there, can I help you?"
Hi, yes, we are here to investigate. And I pull up my badge.
Oh, and he sort of like, he sort of takes it and he says, they expecting you.
Yes.
You got
An appointment?
Dr.
Appointment,
Dallin. Dr. Dallin is expecting us.
Dr. Dallin's expecting you.
Dallin, rather.
Give me 1 second. And he closes, there's a little door, and he closes the door, and you see him pick up the phone and call on inside. Magnolia, everyone came up with cool cover names for their state police officers. What would Magnolia's name be?
I had to step away for something really quick, but so I missed all that, which I like actually, because for two things for Magnolia. Number one, he is spacing out and not entirely paying attention. And two, he knows that the moment he opens his mouth, he is suspicious because he, one, has an extremely strong Southern accent that he can't mask, and two, just statistically here, folks, like he has like negative charisma in this game. Like his actually don't have his character sheet open. He has, what was his
It's pretty low.
His charisma is 5. Yeah, he has a 5. So he is intentionally saying nothing and being awkward about it.
Got it.
So if he has a name, if a name comes out, he'll think of it at the moment. Right now, he has not.
Everyone else has written theirs on their just like their sort of temporary badges that they all have. There's a space where you can like fill it in. They're apparently like the disposable or that kind that they just sort of send out on investigations, I guess. So he could write one on there, but you don't have to answer that right now. He could be thinking about it, or
he put it on blank. And he's gonna think of what to add later.
Amazing.
And if anybody questions him about it, oops, I forgot.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The door opens back up, and the guard comes back and says, "All right, yeah. Dr. Dallin said he's been expecting you. You guys, you're free to go inside." And he pushes a button, and the gate slowly grinds to the side. And you pull in. The parking lot has maybe a dozen cars in it. It is right by that front entrance. You also see that the drive goes around the building once as well. And as you get closer, is there anything else you want to say, tell each other, do before you enter?
Magnolia scans the building for entrances and exits.
Okay.
Sort of standard.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I described, I'm not sure if you were here for this. It's basically it's three stories. There's a big facade in front of you, and since Maple got the blueprints ahead of time, she can tell you that it's a capital E. There's 3 wings that stretch back from there. There's the main entrance right in the center of that that one side of it. And as you're looking, you don't see any other exits. No emergency exits. The windows on the first floor all have external bars over them as a security measure. And just scanning around the grounds, there's not much else in the
upper floors,
open area.
The upper floors have bars on them?
From your glance, no, it doesn't appear like they do.
And is this place surrounded by fences?
It's one big iron fence, a security fence that goes all the way around. It's like heavy iron with inward-facing hooks. And to discourage scaling the fence and climbing over it.
Any trees?
There's a few. There's not many mature trees, at least on this side of the building.
Okay. One last question. Is there any obvious...
No, I love it.
Any obvious... I guess this is sort of a training thing. When I'm like, he's assessing it to see if there is any security weakness. Like, if I were to bust out of this place, where would I go? Is there like a weakness in the fence or something like that?
Make me a search check.
Okay.
Does this seem like the type of place that would probably have codes to get in and out of certain, probably wings at the very least, if not everywhere?
I think I determined from the blueprints that they had things like they would have keypads and such, and where like cameras would mostly be stationed.
Okay.
Yeah. You would have come away with that information that there's a keycard system. You could see places on the blueprints where they installed those sort of flat keycard. What do you call them?
The
E-readers?
Yeah, like a little panel where you just put a key card up to it.
Oh, yeah.
Open stores.
So I got an 8, which is
Nice.
You're a success.
Excellent.
Man, your paranoia is paying off.
From your vantage point, looking around at these fences, you don't see any flaws in the fences. You don't see any openings. And not only that, you pick up a few places where there are security cameras here on the outside of the building. There's one over the central entrance. And there's one at each corner from this side of the building.
So my impression is this place is pretty well locked down. And if someone
That's the impression you get.
Like if someone were to have gotten out, at least a camera would have picked them up, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think so.
Okay. All right, proceed.
You park the car, you get out, and you approach that front door. The front door is locked, but as soon as you reach the door, you hear a sound indicating you could open it. And so you open and come on in. And in front of you, there is sort of a main house welcome area. There is it's a kind of like a lobby, but it's sort of it's not cushy by any means. There's a couple rows of chairs, some old magazines, and then there is a booth window. Seated behind the window is a young woman, blonde hair. She's got this big sort of friendly smile on her face, and she has what looks like scrubs on. Sort of, you could guess that she is some sort of medical professional. And she smiles as you all come in, and she says, "Hi there, good afternoon. Welcome to Dorchester House. They told me that you're here to see Dr. Dallin, is that right?"
That's correct.
Okay, and I'm sorry, who am I addressing? I'm Gail. I'm Nurse Gail and
Officer Avon.
Avon, okay. Oh, that reminds me, and she takes out this clipboard with a sign-in sheet. She's like, if I could ask all of you to sign in here, please,
Of course.
to track that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. Understandable. And I do like a little flourish of the pen and start writing down all of our names.
Okay.
Oh,
And
I guess that.
and who's everybody else?
I do the whole like cop thing where they like flip it open and flip it closed faster than you can actually see anything, and I'm like, Deputy Morris.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Hi, Deputy Morris. Nice to meet you. And you do see a bit of a double take at Maple. And she says, and you?
Hi, I'm Eternals Affairs Officer Stafford. These lovely folks here are with the state police. I'm with them on assignment. I'm taking an auditing, so I have to like watch them and see how they handle this investigation.
Oh, looks like you guys are being investigated too, huh?
Well, you know, get
Wow,
into a little fun.
Just teasing. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and then as I write down, I say, an agent, or not agent, Officer Levesque, the most southern name I could pull out of my ass.
Officer Levesque. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hi there. Okay. Just one moment. And she sort of like slides the little window close, and she picks up her phone, and you hear her make a phone call. And she picks it up and she says, "Hi, Dr. Dallin." The state, you can hear like bits and pieces. The state police officer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. All right. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'll send them right up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. And she comes back out and she hands each of you, well, she holds out these 4 tiny little envelopes, like the kind you would get at a hotel when you get a key card for a room, and says, "Okay, now these," and she hands them to you one by one. These are car keys, and they will get you into pretty much anywhere in the building that isn't, like high security, off limits types of things. For those, you'll need an administrator or someone to accompany you, but these should get you almost everywhere else. And I am going to put those up on the murder board for you. And on each one, you see that she has written your officer names on them in like a black Sharpie, just right on the card itself. And get on that right layer. There we go. And you get all that in your possession. And she says, "Now, if you'll follow me, I can take you up to Dr. Dallin's office. He wants to meet with you right away." And she comes around, opens the door, lets you in, and greets you with a big smile. I am also going to put Gail in your journals as one of your pictures. One thing that's worth mentioning is that between weeks, Maple did some research on the internet and looked up the details of the staff listing here at the Dorchester House, and got names. Only a few of them had pictures, and those are already in there. Dr. Dallin's picture you find, and head nurse Samagina you find, and those are all in your journals. And now Nurse Gail Houston is there as well, Huston. So Gail leads you back into the building, and she says, "Okay, so this is the Dorchester House. It was built back in 1912, and it's been a lot of things over the years, but it has been a psychiatric care facility back since the mid-'80s." And she's like giving you this spiel, like it's kind of doing things. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yes, Dr. I'm sorry, Mr. Levesque, is that right?
This is actually Colin raising his hand for the GM.
Yes, Colin. Yeah,
who is a character in this game, by the way.
Mm-hmm, yep.
No, so again, he doesn't give a shit what she's saying at all. He is.
He's tuning out.
He's tuning out, but what he's doing is she mentioned high security areas. That rang his bell. So as she's walking us through the place, that's what he's looking for. And he's doing two things. He's trying to memorize the floor plan of this place as they're going through. Obviously, we know the general layout. We know it's E-shaped, but like those high security areas, he wants to know where are they. So I was thinking like navigate or something like that. Like where
Is
would
he
those
trying to just come away with an impression of where higher security areas might be? Is that his?
Yeah, I think
strategy?
so. Yes, for when we inevitably break away from the tour and have to go a hunting.
If it
Where
helps
to look.
any, when Maple did the blueprints, look for the blueprints at like the city hall kind of thing. I did get critical, so I think I have like, and I took pictures of the blueprints. So like, you should have
Yep.
pretty good blueprints that might help with this check.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, the areas which they deem as, high security areas wouldn't be labeled on the blueprints, right?
Right.
You know it's 3 floors, you know it's 3 wings with that one central sort of hallway connecting the 3. But places that they think are like off limits wouldn't be labeled on there.
Right. So he's looking for like visual cues that tell him where those things would be.
Noted. Great.
Do we walk past any staircases while she's showing us around?
You do, actually. As soon as she takes you into that sort of central hall, there is a stairwell right in front of you, behind a door, behind a security door. And just from a quick look around, we could say that because I know he's looking, what's Magnolia's passive sort of awareness? What's his total awareness skill?
Alertness?
Yeah, that's right.
Alert. He has a 70 in alertness.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He's so fucking alert.
With a 70, I mean, you don't even need to roll. You notice that all of the doors here are of that same kind of build. These are heavy steel security doors. You're guessing at least 8 to 10 centimeters thick. High grade sort of stuff. Including this one that has a little like window in it that you can see is the stairwell behind it. That window looks to be made out of reinforced glass.
So the doors are all the same build. The only difference is the key card access changes,
Yes.
essentially.
So apparently some places that key card will not get you. And if you asked her or asked Dallin, he would be able to answer those questions for you. But for the time being, you are sort of in that welcome area behind the desk. And she says, now, before we go any further, and I take you upstairs, I'm sure you understand this is a facility for people who are mentally troubled, who have had lots of bad experiences, particularly around firearms. And so we do ask that everybody who comes in, especially with officers like yourselves, that you surrender any firearms you have on you, any weaponry, anything else that might pose a danger to our patients. And so if you'll step over here, and she pulls out like a big sort of like lockbox safe. And she says, we'll keep them secure here until you leave, and you can get them on your way out.
How many guns is Magnolia carrying right now? I think just the one. However, is there a metal detector to keep us honest about this, or no?
With your passive alertness, you do not see one, no.
I think the gun is like on his hip, so he can't really like hide that. So I think he has to give it over, but he's not going to say anything about the knife that he has strapped to his leg.
And I'm not going to say anything about the fact that I'm carrying a briefcase as a police officer.
With a gun!
With a gun?
So I think
Oh, they don't
Magnolia,
know
like,
that?
Magnolia is smart enough to know that he can't just not give up the pistol that's obviously on his hip. So he just kind of ruefully is like, shit, and just puts it in the box. But then he's like, I've got a secret.
As you're putting guns away and sort of putting them in the case, she is like just like looking at all of you. It's like, is that all? I hope you like realize that, if somebody, I'm sure you understand this as officers, somebody bring something in here and it gets into the hands of one of our patients, or if it goes off accidentally, even the sound alone could be a big problem.
Of course, we would never want that. We would never want to cause a disruptance like that here whatsoever.
Okay, great. I'm glad that we're all on the same page. I'm not surprised.
I have one really quick thing I want to do before we move on, which is that he gave the pistol away. His pistol, when I made him, this became a mechanic. He has a silencer that comes with this pistol, which would just look like a little metal tube. You don't keep that on the pistol all the time because it's big and long and bulky, so you have to screw it on when you go to draw the pistol. So he gave the pistol, but he didn't give away the silencer. And it's a medium pistol, just like Lonnie's, just like Mayday's. So I think what he does is he like stands in front of Mayday and just like puts it behind his back and like tries to pass the silencer to Mayday.
While all of this is going on,
that's a roll for sure.
Wait, while all of this is going
Lou.
on, I'm doing that like, yeah, absolutely. Just like mindlessly babbling and
like
nodding
small
along.
talk, glad handing. Yep.
I would like to help with this exchange, and that I'm just like with Maple. Maple's like, I don't have a pistol on me, but I do have a lighter, which I feel like I should be giving up. I am though gonna hold on to this unlit cigarette because this is like a security blanket to me, and I'm sure you understand.
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
If that's fine, if you could, I mean, honestly, a lot of times our patients are unpredictable, and so who knows what kind of reaction that'll get from them. If it seems to be causing a problem for anyone, if you can put it in your pocket or something like that. But yes, the lighter is a good idea.
I'll just stash away. No, I'll give you the lighter, but I'll just stash the cigarette away. I like to have it on me. I like to know that it's there.
Oh, I understand. Okay. All right, well, I'm not a smoker, but I know what you mean. And she sort of takes all those things and she says, okay, if you guys are going to be trying to pass off this silencer, I need a stealth check.
You got it, buddy.
From Magnolia.
Oh.
How do we do?
I have a 70 in stealth, my guy, so that's a 32 for you, boy.
All right, just for fun, I'm going to spend the villain point that I've gotten already to make you reroll that.
Asshole. Okay. I knew you were going to do that. How's a 13
even better. Smooth like butter. Like butter, you hand off that silencer.
Yeah, he just puts his hand behind his back, looking like just like a respectable boy. Just puts his hand behind his back, and then like Mayday. I just think you just see like he has it in one hand, and the other one's going like, "Hey, Mayday, hey, pay attention."
Mayday, Mayday,
Mayday.
And you can see like the silencer in his fist as he just like.
I grab it and am very glad that I'm still wearing like baggy clothes. That it's very easy to kind of just plop something in a pocket and not worry about.
Yeah, you've got like a suit coat on, like a suit jacket or something like that.
That seems to be my neutral baseline.
Nice. Yep, and it just sort of falls in there, no problem. She doesn't seem to notice.
All right.
She says, "All right, right this way." I think that Dr. Dallin has a full tour planned if you need one, but just as we're going, I'll point these things out. And she's like, you're in that main hallway now by the stairwell, and she's like, so we have 3 wings. This central wing here, she points toward the stairwell straight ahead in the middle of the building. This is our administrative wing. And so there's lots of stuff here. There's our cafeteria. On each floor, there is sort of game rooms, stuff like that. And then down that way, and she points to one end, she says, that way is the women's wing. And that way is the men's. And we are going up to the 3rd floor to Dr. Dallin's office. So I hope you like stairs.
When we're in the staircase, is there any indication that there is a staircase or anything going down?
Without even a roll or anything like that. No, it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like there's anything leading to a basement. There is like that stairway, and then the hall keeps going, right? So it's like that whole administrative wing. And here on this floor, you would see, like she said, there's going to be, you expect a cafeteria, sort of eating place, a dining hall, some social spaces, maybe a library or something like that, all within that one wing.
So does that mean that everyone is free to wander to the administrative wing to go to the game rooms and social rooms?
That's a question for the people who work here, I think.
Can I ask that as we're walking? If she's pointing out game
Sure.
rooms, I'll, say, is this the same on all 3 floors? And
Not exactly. It's similar. It is here on this level. This is the first floor, and some people refer to the first floor as the mall, which is, I mean, it'll make sense in a second. But some people call it the mall, and the mall has it's unrestricted in terms of where people come and go. So our patients are free to come up and down the hallway. We do, of course, have some rules about what you can and can't have, but there's lots of time here for group therapy in some spaces, and places to meet with family and other visitors. The game room is here. Up on the second floor, most of our patients are there. They tend to spend the longest time there, and that one is called it's called Club Med, which is silly.
You
Club
have
Med,
fun here. You have fun.
I mean, we have to.
You have to. You got to find the joy.
Right, exactly. The thing about the second floor is the reason it's called Club Med is she's taking you up the stairs now as you're walking. Most of the patients on this floor we're coming up to have private rooms, which is a step up from the third floor. And so it's seen as sort of a luxury or a reward for good behavior and improvement. Now, on that floor, patients are required to be accompanied in and out of rooms. They can't wander freely, but it's not as strict. And on the third floor, they've got another name for the third floor. And the third floor is for our most at-risk patients, the ones who are most likely to hurt themselves or other people. And oftentimes the people on that floor, we have to use restraints. We have to keep them sedated. And typically patients don't spend a long time there, eventually moving down to the second floor, but some folks have been there for a while. Yeah.
did you have a fun name for the third floor too?
Thank you. I didn't want to have to ask it.
They call it the Pokey, and I'm not a fan of it.
Not
a
so
fan of that name.
fun. Got it.
No. But it is the most heavily staffed floor. You're going to see a lot of orderlies, nurses up there. And that's where we're going.
Well, excited to have a look around.
All right. By now, you have reached that third floor. And she opens the door, and right away, you are struck with the mood of this floor of the building. You can hear people coming and going up and down the hall. From some of the rooms, you hear the occasional shout or constant talking, yelling patients who are upset. There is sort of next to the stairway when you enter, you see there is a common room here on the third floor, and there's a few people there dressed in patient gowns with slippers on, and a few of them are just standing around. Some of them are off in a corner, maybe having a tic, like sort of doing things with their hands or moving their hands a lot. There is one gentleman who is sitting down in a chair, and he's got a crayon. He's got this red crayon, and he's writing in a book, and he's writing furiously in this big notebook. And when he sees you come in, he sort of stops and he regards you, and he watches all of you for a while.
The writing from crayons is usually kind of bigger. Is there any way to really briefly glance at it without he seems to be watching us, so just kind of seeing over his shoulder what he wrote?
He is like opposite you, so he's kind of over on a plastic sort of chair. You know, it's like a kind of chair that can't be used as a weapon, and he's sort of seated there, and he's watching you, and like you sort of look him over, and he says, "Nurse Gale Houston, Nurse Gale, they're looking at me, they're watching me. Who are these people? Hey there, hi, welcome." Hi, and Gail says, "Sorry, Ed. They're going to meet with Dr. Dallin. It's like, oh, all right. When who's the secretary? I want to schedule a meeting with them too. I want to schedule a meeting with these. Who are these people in the suits? That guy's a big guy. Look at the big one." She says, "Well, we'll see. They might be coming around later, and if they want, you could talk with them." "Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah."
We'd love to talk to you.
"Oh, look at her. She's polite. Okay, thank you. Yes, I'd like to talk with you too. And what's your name?"
My name is oh god, I keep forgetting. It's Agent, right? No, yeah. Officer. Yes. I don't know. I don't respect authority, so I don't recognize authority.
Yeah.
Here.
You just like blank it out from your mind.
Exactly. Hi. Yes, I am Officer Avon. It's nice to meet you.
Officer. Oh, this are the cops.
Officer.
And he goes and he writes in his notebook with his crayon. There's Officer Avon and your friends.
Yes.
You don't all have to like share your names now. We'll catch up later. I'm Ed Wist.
Ed Wist. Nice.
And then
to meet
he
you.
like watches all of you to see if there's any reaction.
Could I do some kind of check to see if I recognize the name?
Sure. That would be. Oh gosh, what kind of check would that be? Let me think. Is some kind of skill regarding kind of maybe history or intelligence. I would do an int times 5 would be welcome here.
An int times 5. Let's do an
so
int.
you can just click on int and it'll roll you an intelligence check, which is int times 5.
All right, that is a success. I got 9.
Ooh, that is a success. Very good. You guys are rolling
so
hot
smart
tonight.
Thank you.
He says Ed Wist, and that name rings a bell in your mind. Something from the news. It was about a year ago, or maybe a few years ago. Can't exactly remember what the story was, but it was big national news. You'd have to sit and think about it for a little while. But seeing you sort of like think about that, the rest of you, if you're watching him, you see him sort of like give a little smile.
Maple's actually kind of behind Magnolia.
Okay.
It's kind of a little bit out of sight of this person.
Question, Justin. The 3 people that escaped from here were former Delta Green agents, right?
That is true.
Okay. Based on what I know, are we sorry, I remember if I'm remembering the fun nicknames, are we in the mall or Club Med right now?
You are currently on the 3rd floor where Dr. Dallin's office is, so you're in the Pokey.
We're in the Pokey. Okay. So,
but Ed apparently does not need to be restrained at the moment. He is out of his room.
Okay. So, I have a question, but I feel like I want to know if the people we're looking for would have been on this floor, but I get the feeling that's a question we can just ask Dr. Dallin when we talk to him, so probably don't need
definitely
time
could.
on it. Yeah.
And regarding that, she says, "All right, Ed, I have to get them to their meeting, and maybe if they're around later," he says, "Yeah, I'll catch all your names later." Okay, sounds
Bye,
good.
Ed.
Bye, Agent Deputy Avon.
That's me.
And he goes back to writing in his book. And he's sort of talking to himself just a little bit. So she takes you into the administrative wing. She scans one of those little black plasticine placards with a key card. and there's a beep. It turns green. She opens the door and lets you in and closes it behind you. And she says, so here in the administrative wing, we do have, even here on the 3rd floor, we have some spaces for our patients. There's some group therapy areas, multi-purpose spaces. We don't have a game room up here. We don't have too much that's fancy. A lot of the patients here on the 3rd floor will eat in their rooms, but there is a small dining space too. But back here are the offices, and she another door beep opens it up, takes you back there, and you're standing outside of a decidedly different looking set of doors. This set of like oak, nice wood doors with a trim around it, and she walks up and she gives it a little knock, and a voice on the inside says, "Just a second." And there's a little pause, and finally the door opens, and on the other side you see a person you all recognize as Dr. Richard Dallin from the picture that Maple passed along to you. What the picture did not represent, Dr. Dallin's a big guy, which is funny considering we were talking about height today. He is taller than Magnolia. He is a large man, but when he reaches out to shake your hands and welcome you, it sort of belies this sort of like gentle nature that he has about him. He is wearing a shiny, like polyester jacket, which I think that Magnolia, as canonically somebody who has watched baseball before, sees as like a baseball team jacket, you know, and it's semi-buttoned up. He says, please, come in. I just have to...
Is it the Sox?
He turns around and there's a Red Sox logo on the back.
Fucking Sox.
I was going to ask and make sure it's not the Mets.
I wish Maltese was here! Oh my god!
And he sort of welcomes you into his office, and Gale follows in as well. And just looking around, I'll describe his office for you. It is a lovely, well-appointed room. There's a big picture window with a nice view of the Neponset River facing to the east. And you can see that in a space, like you can see through the window, the next space over, the next lot over is a dog park, and people are out there playing with their dogs. And he has these bookshelves on, oh gosh, like every wall. So almost like all the way around, all the way up to the ceiling, these bookshelves that are filled with books. At first glance, medical journals, a lot of copies of like magazines and like academic journals. And then on one end, there's this sort of weirdly fancy looking desk. And it is thin. It's like, you know, and as he sits down on it, he opens up this like tiny laptop and hangs his coat over the back of his chair. And he says, please have a seat. And there's a set of chairs there for all of you. Yes. Is this Colin or is this Magnolia?
This is Colin, yeah.
Yes, Colin.
Magnolia is not speaking until Gale leaves the room. There's no way in hell.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Magnolia, forever scanning, wishes to scan this man's office to see. So this is a man who is aware of the existence of Delta Green. We know that for sure.
That's what you've been told, yes.
That's what we've been told. What he wants to look around, look through the titles of the books, look to see his decorations. Is there anything here that betrays the fact that this is a man who is aware of the existence of eldritch spooky shit?
Roll me a search check.
Okay. And there's a method to my madness here. All right, I have a 40 in search. It's not the best. Still got it though. 26 out of 40.
Wonderful. You still got it.
Got
Man,
it,
you guys are
baby.
hot tonight. You're hot.
Yeah.
It'll last all session long.
I don't know why you're running your big, beautiful mouth. You got the
Gotta
mouth.
do
of
something
a-
with it. Ain't smooching on nobody. Gotta do something with it.
Oh, honey.
You're looking at all these books. They all seem to concern mental illness. There's one called Mental Illness in the Workplace, for example. And there is those journal magazines. It appears to be a set of the American Journal of Psychiatry, but it seems like a complete set dating back to 1983. So this is a quarterly journal. So it's just, boom. There's quite a few of them. The only thing in there that is weird is that in one corner of the room, there is this display case. And you take a quick glance at it, and it appears to be like a glass and velvet box. And on the ceiling, hanging down, are these individual spotlights. And each one is highlighting a different part of Dr. Dallon's rock collection. And you can't see from this distance, but it looks like each rock has a little hand-printed card in front of it. There's like 8 of them in there. And as you're sort of looking that over, he says,
Block the rocks.
"Getting your rocks off, huh?" He says. It's a little joke I like to make. I'm a bit of a geologist. I'm a amateur, you know. I like to go caving and collecting cool rocks and bring them back here. And he's like waiting for a response from you.
He's just nodding.
What's so special about those rocks in particular that they have beautiful glowing lights above them? Kind of like something, I don't know, from an Indiana Jones movie.
Wait a minute, is this Liv or is this Margin?
This is it's both of us actually. I live the player as a crystal bitch, astro ho, spiritual
Guru.
spiritual mommy. I would be remiss if I didn't get a chance to use Margin's occult skills to check out. And these are magic crystals. Is my man into spirituality? Does he?
What's the energy?
Does he?
Well,
Is he realigning some chakra?
While he answers Maple's question, roll me an occult check to see if these are occult rocks.
I know this man puts a rose quartz in his like suit pocket every time he goes out on a date.
Is that a thing?
Roll it, baby.
I got a
Well.
3.
You got a 3. You guys. Okay. So, first of all, he says, well, in order to meet the strenuous criteria of being involved in my display case, I have to think the rock is really pretty. I'm not, you know, when I say amateur geologist, I'm really amateur. I just if I find one I think it looks cool, you know, I put it in there. So, you know, call me a weirdo if you want. With that 3, there is a piece of quartz in there, but it's not rose quartz. It is like, it looks like something he found on the beach or something like that.
Oh, so it's sand glass. It's not even a
Might
rock.
be.
Okay, so he's an amateur, but he has the most like intense setup
Elaborate.
for his little sea glass pieces.
For pretty rocks.
Velvet, spotlights.
He takes himself very seriously. Yeah, I mean, this tells you something about him, right? Is that
Awesome.
he has interests and he takes them seriously, but he's also not full of himself, and you know what I mean. And just like he does it just because he loves the rocks, you know,
They're pretty.
because they're pretty. And he says,
Magnolia's just nodding. Just.
And when Magnolia's like that, he looks at you, and at first he's waiting for a socially acclimatized response from Magnolia, right? And then very quickly he realizes he's not going to get one. And he goes, all right. And he doesn't touch you because he knows that, like, something in him knows, like, not supposed to touch this guy. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't like the touching. So he's met people like you before.
I'm sure.
And so he says, well, come on. And then he notices that Gail's in the room. And he says, Nurse Houston, if you wouldn't mind, we're going to have a private talk in here.
I was literally just gonna say, can I just thank her for the tour? Like, kind
You
of in
can
that
go ahead and still do
finality
that.
way of like,
Yeah.
like, oh, by the way, thank you so much for.
Oh, yeah,
All
of
the
course. And if you come
information.
around later on a more extensive look around, I have to get back to the front desk. All right. And she, like, exits and, like, closes the doors inward. You know what I mean? Like, as she backs out of the room. And he waits a beat.
Magnolia
then-
goes,
You know, I
Oh
think
my
it's
God.
lovely. I think it's lovely that you have this particular one, and I point to the sea glass. That's what I meant to say. I think
Uh-huh.
it's particularly great that you have this particular one. You know, it's a symbol of renewal and healing, overall a metaphor for
Oh.
life.
I think that's great.
shiny.
It
It's
is shiny.
It
And
is
you can see
glass.
that
Glass
the
is
little
shiny.
label in front of it says Myrtle Beach. And then it
Aw.
gives like August 2nd, 2008, and like the date of it. And it goes, well, thanks. Renewal and healing is kind of what we're all about. And you can see that he's like looking at you and back and forth to the door, you know, just to make sure that Gail is gone out of earshot. And he's like, which makes this whole thing kind of whew, it's tough. It's please
Yeah.
come and sit down, and
Thank you.
I'll tell you everything.
Wait. Is that Justin, or did his voice just change?
No, his mask dropped a little bit. You know what I mean? He's a little bit less like, hey, you know, I'm in front of somebody who doesn't know what's going on, and now he's like, I'm glad you're here. You know, like, and he says, please, have a seat. He sits down, and the like juxtaposition of this giant framed man at this tiny little desk, the absurdity of it sort of like hits you. But he opens back up this tiny little laptop. He got the smallest one to fit on this desk, and he's sort of like, he's got like a little pencil cup, and that's it. And he like just opens up his computer and he says, it has it's been a week, let me
Mhm.
tell you.
Mhm. Well, that's what we're here
um,
for. We want you to tell us everything.
Sure. I mean, where do you well, first of all, I can assume, and he sort of points at your IDs that you have hanging. They're not like lanyards on your neck. I'm assuming that's not your real name. If you
No.
want to give me your Delta Green names, you can, but if you don't feel like you have to,
I've got no problem with that. I'm Agent Maple. Pleasure to meet you, Doctor.
Agent, is it Mabel or Maple?
Maple, like the
Okay.
syrup.
Like the
Nice to
leaf.
meet you. Nice to meet you, ma'am.
The syrup is sexier, so I prefer to go with that.
Oh, yeah. He humors you.
The leaf just feels too much like Canada, and that ain't sexy.
I don't know.
kidding.
I knew someone. No, I'm just kidding. Never mind.
I'm Margin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Agent Margin. And a big guy, you.
Yeah, sorry about that, sir. I didn't feel at liberty to speak freely.
Oh, yeah.
Of the civvy there, so.
Sure. Yeah. No, I appreciate your candor, and well, before that, your tact.
Yeah, also I figured that the way I talk would sort of get me away as not likely being a Boston or a Massachusetts state police officer. Sir.
I was about to say we got a Southern boy on our hands, and
Yeah, I suppose I can't hide that particular fact about me. Agent Magnolia, sir. Very pleased to meet you.
where are you from, Magnolia?
classified.
I mean,
sir.
you can be vague if you want. Okay, all right. I was just going to say, I was going to ask what they feed you down there because they grow them big wherever you're from. I'll tell you that.
It's just so much grits. He's 50%
Just grits and grits for days.
A little
Okay.
bit of
I did not-
cheese on the side.
I do not deny my high consumption of grits.
Fair enough. And you, Miss.
Agent Mayday.
Agent Mayday. All right.
Oh, that would be like the first time that you two have heard that. I just realized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like, oh, okay.
All right.
Classy
Where do I
like.
start? What do you want to know? I don't know how much your handler told you.
Well, we know a couple of things. We have a list of the names, and we also saw the artwork that was on the wall.
Oh, the writing.
Yes.
Okay.
Saw the writing on the wall.
Huh.
Literally, sir.
He gives like a sad laugh at that. He goes,
That's why I
yeah.
didn't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have
Yeah.
any. I don't have any theories about that. It's a poem, or I don't know. But
None of your patients ever talked about an Abigail, right?
first time hearing that
doesn't ring a
name.
bell to you, sir? Well, then maybe that's the difference between Delta Green assets and Delta Green agents, because I do believe that name rang a bell for all of us here.
Yes.
Oh, there's okay. There's some sort of connection, I guess. Well, that's good. It gives you something to go on,
Yes.
I suppose. Well, here's the situation. Today's what, the 2nd? Yeah, that's right. He looks at his computer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, August 28th, which was, oh gosh, what, like 6 days ago, something like that.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, that's about right. We woke up, and on the 3rd floor, we whenever the day starts, we always do a count. All the rooms, the doors are opened. We do a count, make sure everybody's accounted for. And on that day, it was our end of day count. It was around 8:11 p.m. We went up and down the 3rd floor, and the first thing that we noticed was that patient Who, Thomas Who, H-O-U, was gone from his room. And as soon as one of our nurses noticed that, I believe it was, oh gosh, I don't know. It might have, I'm going to look at my notes here and see who it was. Yeah, I'm not sure. It was, it might have been, it wasn't Mike. It was probably one of the other orderlies.
Was it
So,
Richard Bryce?
yeah, you know what? It was Richard. Okay, all right. All right. It looks like you know more than I do. Richard was the one who discovered that Thomas wasn't in his room. And then we went to Mr. Diaz's room. Same thing. And then a few moments later, we find out that Lila is gone as well. Now, all of that happened, oh God, within a course of just a few minutes. But up until that point, yeah, well, a couple of things. First of all, within the history of the building, of the facility, we've never lost a patient, ever. Okay, and we've never had someone go off count. We've never had any. We've had some, patients obviously try to get out, make a break for it, but they're always brought back. They're always restrained. And so that's one thing. That's one piece of the history. The other piece is that before that, on that day, each one of those patients were in a locked room. They were restrained with underbed restraints. They were sedated. And the last time we saw them was around 6 o'clock, between 6 and 6:30. But by 8:11, we found one was missing. By 8:20 or so, we realized that 3 were missing. And it was the third room in Lila's room that we found the writing on the wall.
Hold on a minute there, sir. I just need to back you up. The last time these folks were seen was, you said, around 6:30?
That's about right, yeah.
And you noticed they were missing around 8.
That was when we did the count, yeah. Usually after dinner, there's quiet time in rooms, and then we check in on them for meds before lights out.
But they were restrained and sedated.
They were. And the doors were locked.
This is a bit of Colin bringing in knowledge, but also this is something I think Magnolia knows, though how the fuck he knows this is anyone's
TV.
guess. But I think it makes sense that he knows this. No, I don't think it's TV. Sir, a patient who's restrained needs to have their restraints checked every 15 minutes to ensure that they're not developing sores or wounds of any kind. And also anyone who's under sedation would need constant monitoring to ensure that the medication isn't accidentally slipping them into a medically induced coma or killing them. So why were these patients not checked for an hour and a half?
I'll take the heat for that. You're right, that is standard procedure. I'm not sure how that happened. Orderly Bryce, Richard was the one responsible for that, but apparently it didn't go forward as planned.
Where's Orderly Bryce, sir?
Yeah, 1 second. He takes his laptop and he pulls up this file and he says he's on the clock right now. He is probably either here or down on floor 2.
He just looks back at the rest of the crew and says, like, we will need to speak with him.
Yeah, sure. Again, I know why you're here. I know how Delta Green operates. You have my permission to speak to anybody you wish. I think Gail probably told you those cards won't get you in everywhere, but really the places that they won't get you into are like, patient rooms when they're being disruptive, or for example, they wouldn't get you here into my office just because it's my office, but pretty much anywhere else.
If you know how we operate, then you know that we may need to go into places we wouldn't normally go.
I understand that, and I'm going to call our head nurse. She's going to come up, and she'd be happy to take you around, get you in wherever you need to go. She's a bit she seems tough. You know what I mean? She sort of puts that front up there, but she's
please speak plainly, Dr. Dallin.
I don't like to make it political, but I like to be as generous as I can. Nurse Emigena is beloved by all the patients here. She's not like, I know you've seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's not what's going on. All right, she's not some sort of Nurse Ratched, like mean, tyrant or nothing like that. She, the patients kind of see her kind of as a mother figure, and she runs a tight ship. That's what I'll say. But she's willing to take you wherever you need to go. What else? Anything else you want to ask me?
Yeah. Now, well, Gail was showing us around. There was a point where she mentioned that the Club Med floor seems to have private rooms. Does that mean that they are able to lock their doors, or does that mean that the third floor would typically have roommates?
Third floor, more often than not, does have roommates. Some just for numbers' sake. Some folks are by themselves. On this floor, the 3 missing patients were all solo. They didn't have roommates. Down on the second floor, they can't lock their doors, but they can close them and, come and go out of them as they wish.
Sure. So, though that was going to be my next question, was would the agents have had roommates? So I guess you already saw where I was going with that.
Yeah, some do, some don't. And really, I think some of the appeal, the motivation for our patients to progress down to the second floor is not so much that they don't have a roommate, but it's more peaceful there. It's just quieter in general. On this floor, we have a lot of patients who have trouble containing their emotions and express themselves loudly.
Now I realize with patient-doctor confidentiality and everything, you can't or wouldn't feel comfortable going into detail about what our agents were in here for. But can you give
Sure.
us a general idea of what they were here for? I know that you guys specialize in PTSD, but why were they
Yes.
dangerous to themselves or others?
I understand. And actually, I've pulled these for you. And he reaches into a drawer and pulls out 3 manila folders. And each one has one of those individuals' names on them. It says, these are our patient files. If you were police officers, I would ask for a warrant. But in this case, I think it's best if you just know what you're working with. Feel free to look those over as you wish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maple will be the one who takes them. She'll pass one out to Mayday and to Margin.
Anybody else questions about the building itself or the particular patients, the facility, anything?
Oh, I do have a question. Mr. Wist.
Oh, Ed.
Yes.
Yeah, Ed. He's a character, huh?
Yeah. Seemed like I recognize him, but couldn't quite put my finger on him.
Was he
Wow.
writing in his? He was writing in his notebook, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. He loves that notebook. What was your question?
Who is he?
Ed is in here for a variety of reasons. One of them being that back in, 2010, he was involved in a crime involving his family. And now that he says this, and even like some of the rest of you get this, that there was this story in the paper called the Poor Little Rich Boy Murders, about a kid named Ed Wist, who on his 16th birthday murdered his parents and his sister with a shotgun in their home in California. And one of the reasons that this story got so much attention was because it was one of the rare cases where a plea of insanity was successful. That he was successfully pleaded not guilty, and so like his family trusts the benefactors sent him to Dorchester House. So he's been here for 5 years.
So he's like 21.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay.
And that
So
lines
he's
up
a young guy. I guess I pictured him as an older guy. But
Me too.
That's just because I'm old.
No.
nonsense.
At this point, you're sort of like recalling all that. Oh yeah, Ed Wist, and
I watched the news.
yeah, there's something else, and there was something else too. There's another part of that story, like a follow-up story, but you can't remember. Right off the top of your head. Mayday, your phone rings. Your personal cell phone starts vibrating in your pocket. So all of you hear this bzz, 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 bzz,
She looks down at her phone.
bzz, bzz.
She has a vibrant.
Yeah, she's classy. You look down at it, and The name Adam is on the caller ID.
Can we see that?
I don't know. That's up to her.
How discreet is Mayday with her personal phone? Because your boy's gonna look.
Mm-hmm.
How does Mayday handle this buzzing in her pocket?
Tell me about that personal life, why don't you?
Wait, what did you say the name was?
Adam.
I literally just looked at my character sheet for a second, and I was like, I don't know who Adam is. I have no clue.
Oh, we
It's on
know.
there.
We know.
I'll use them. No, you. Colin knows this too. Last
Give him
season, he
names,
used his
he'll use the
character's name.
So Mayday probably does the thing where like she kind of like is basically just like kind of leaning it out of her coat pocket just a little bit, like literally just like kind of can see it but like not really, and like sees that and like presses the button to make it stop vibrating and go to voicemail, and
Okay.
sends a quick text back like, not now.
Do you need to take that?
No.
It's okay if
I'm
you
not
need to
sure
take
if
it.
Text buzzes back. Buzz, buzz.
Popular.
You look at it. Do you look at it?
No, not when everyone else is sitting there looking at me. And
We're all staring at you.
listen, my phone's on vibrate. Y'all just have supersonic ears. I don't know.
Mabel's just sitting there, like, playing around with the unlit cigarette, looking at the dossier, or looking at the folder for, I'm gonna assume she's got Thomas Who's folder.
Okay. You're looking this over. Thomas Who, age 28, PTSD, did 2 tours in Iraq. Wait, no, 28, he wouldn't be Iraq, Afghanistan. Came back with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, and has been here for 2 years. And it has some other like health details, like elevated blood pressure. Like it's very thorough, you know. It has all that other stuff in there too. And looks like he's originally from Kansas City. And so you're just looking all this stuff over.
Question for the three Delta Green agents.
Yes.
Right? They're all okay. Sir, I don't know if you're privy to this information, but the 3 agents, do you know what cell were they from, or were they from different cells? Do you know their call signs?
I have never really pursued that, just because most of the work that we do with people on the 3rd floor here is done kind of putting a band-aid on things, you know, to put it kind of crudely. We are trying to keep them sedated, happy, functional, get them to a place where maybe they could get into group therapy. But there's not a lot of opportunities for one-on-one sessions with them. And honestly, nobody else, none of the other staff, none of the other patients are aware of Delta Green. And part of the upswing is that if former agents like these 3 were start talking about Delta Green, we can sort of pass it off as, oh, you know, it's a figment of their imagination, or things like that. You'd be funny. You'd find it funny how often they would talk about something they've seen or experienced as a part of the group. And well, maybe
Yes, sir,
not
I
funny.
find that hilarious.
No, I get it. It's not that funny. It happens a lot.
Mayday is gonna like kind of be shoving her phone back in her back in her pocket, and obviously not reading the vibe of like that thing, and it's kind of just like, so did they ever actually interact, and did they seem familiar with each other if they did? Just
honestly, I don't know for sure. You'd have to ask some of the other nurses and orderlies. I know Ulrikia, Nurse Vors. I know that she worked with a few of them closely. She's up on the 3rd floor a lot. She might know if they had any interaction with each other. Not that I know of. Like I said, we don't really do group stuff up here. It's
Well, it seems like a few of them are, a few patients are out in open spaces. Maybe.
Oh, you mean like Ed? Yeah. Ed, Tim, they have sort of reached a point where they can be out in those sort of social areas on this floor, but we keep a close eye on them still.
You wouldn't move them down to the second floor at this point, then?
Maybe. Might be. Ed was down on the second floor for a while, and then we had to bring it back up. Just a little outburst.
You said that you did say I would find it funny how often they share their experiences aloud. What did they talk about?
Kind of typical stuff. Like, sometimes it was awfully general. Like, oh, they're moving through the walls. They're, things like that. Or something like, no, she was just here, and then now she's like halfway across the country. And so a lot of it is like some sort of mixture between imagined and memory. I don't know how much of it is something they really experienced in the field, but I know Delta Green well enough to rule it out completely. Still, it's something that's easy to pass off as imagined.
Dr. Dallin, if you're aware of what Delta Green does, I have to ask if you ever experienced anything that you have a difficult time explaining by scientific means.
I have never worked in the field.
That was not my question, sir.
I understand. I have been a friendly that Delta Green has called upon in the past. And honestly, this place, and he looks around, he says, Dorchester House is what it is because of Delta Green. I don't talk about this a lot, but a lot of the funding that I received to start this place was done through the group. We have a foundation in place, but if I know you guys well enough, you'll keep digging, and you'll see it for yourself. Is that was a lot of that was a cover for their financial support.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Maple would have been maybe at least vaguely aware of this.
I mean, it was the 80s.
You don't recall any Dorchester House information, but he did mention a foundation. Yeah. Any other questions? I think that Nurse Emogene is going to be here soon.
Yeah, I got a question for you, actually, kind of in the similar vein of what we just, spoke about with, spooky whatnots and the likes.
Yeah, spooky whatnots, sure.
I mean, this is a clinic, a psychiatric facility. There's going to be spooky whatnot stories. What does the Dorchester House have to, to give in that kind of area?
Oh, do you mean, what's that?
Well, I mean, sometimes the spooky tales have something a little bit true to them.
Sure.
It's kind of nice to know what areas of the building might have some weird occurrences that, your staff has mentioned.
You're asking the boy who cried wolf question, right? Like, how much of it is real? How much of it do I pass along? Rarely. Honestly, we know the patients well enough to kind of know when they're making something up or whether they've really experienced something strange. And usually I'm the one who has to be on the lookout for those things because I know they're real. But honestly, this case is the first time in recent memory where I've reached out to Delta Green because of what happened.
All right. So no little ghost story, something that keeps coming reoccurring like that. You're like, nothing really happened yet, but now the yet happened.
If we did, you would be the first people I call, and then there's a knock on the door. And he says, yeah,
Those things.
it's open. and one of the doors opens, and a woman enters. She is 5.5 feet tall. She has curly hair, sort of olive skin, and looks like she's in her 30s, something like that. And he says, Nurse Samagina. This is our head nurse, Esther Samagina. And Esther has agreed to show you around, escort you around. Esther, like we said, they're free to talk with any patients that aren't, in immediate need of attention or who won't be causing a problem, and let them in anywhere they need to go. Again, unless it's, putting somebody at risk. And she looks at all of you, and she has sort of a half smile, and she's sizing each of you up. And she lingers for a moment on Magnolia. And she says, okay. Welcome to Dorchester House. Follow me. And
Meet ya.
As we're kind of shuffling out of the room, can I check my phone discreetly?
you pull your phone out of your pocket, and the text shows up on the lock screen. And you read it, this text from Adam, and it says, please call me back, it's important.
Can I try to notice that?
Roll me an alertness check.
Okay.
If you want to stealth this, it could be an opposed roll, Lonnie.
I mean,
It's fine. She doesn't need to. I failed. 81 out of 25.
Good. I was kind of thinking about how Mayday would probably be like distracted about like what this message could be, and is not sitting there like very aware of her surroundings in that exact moment anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to duplicate effort, but in this instance, I want to, just because I'm very tall.
Go for it.
I wanna accidentally see if I look. I got an alertness of 20%.
Go ahead and roll.
Get your
Oh,
nose
you
out of my
accidentally.
private life. Come on now.
Nope, you're good. People ain't paying attention.
Wow, we all suck. That's where we fail.
No, you were red
You know
hot for
what?
most of this.
You know what? The dice tell the story. None of us
They
see
do.
it. We're all distracted.
I'm being
Yes.
so discreet with my big, like, hey, I'm literally hiding a silencer in these pockets. I can hide my phone discreetly enough to be able to check it real fast and not have any of you
In
see
fairness,
it.
Lonnie, I don't think you were discreet. I think we're all idiots because we all failed horribly.
Dude,
And
old.
so
we all are
fight
looking at
against
something else.
undersized pockets.
Listen, I'm an old woman. I don't give really about your personal life that much.
There's one last thing I want to do though that I think explains why a man with 70 alertness just didn't notice this, which is on the
Before-
way out. I just want to vibe check Dallin, because what I'm trying to get from him is this he's worked with Delta Green before.
Yep.
But what I wanted to get from him that he didn't really answer was, has he ever experienced anything? I want to know, is this guy a true believer? Does he
Does
Do I
he
get
does
the
he
sense-
actually believe there's supernatural?
Yeah.
Things
Do I get the
out
sense
there.
that, or even believe beyond that? Is he actually aware? Has he experienced these things? Is he someone who knows the truth, or is he just someone who works with people who know the truth?
Okay, roll me a human check.
Human.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't
Anyone
mind
can.
on that too, actually.
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh
And
my
let me know if
god,
you
I failed
succeed.
so bad. I got a 98. Whereas
Wonderful.
Maple crushed it.
Maple, you're also sizing him up. Same question for you, Maple?
Yeah. Because I asked him about the spooky tales, being like, here specifically, I was like, come on, there's got to been something that at least a little weirdness happens.
What did you get, Maple? What was your roll?
I got a 60 out of 70.
Okay. With the 60 out of under 70, you get the feeling that he is a believer, that he not only believes that what Delta Green does is real, but that he's a believer in Delta Green's mandate. He,
Brutal.
and the reason you get that is he seems relieved that you're here.
Maybe I won't have to kill him.
We're not
Maybe.
killing him.
I did not say that out loud.
Curious, but
You are
that
out in the
was
hallway.
interesting.
Nurse Samagina stands there, and she has a clipboard, and she is cradling it across her chest. And she looks up at you. She's shorter than most of you, and sort of looks around. And she says, "Okay, I'm sure that you've gotten the rundown. Gail told me that you heard how we divide up our floors. This is our high security floor. You're welcome to speak with any of the patients that you see. But if I, one of the other orderlies, one of the other nurses tell you to step away so we can help a patient, we expect you to do that right away. Is that clear?"
Yes.
All right. Most doors should be accessible to you. If you ever come across one that you can't enter, please let me know. Is there anywhere that you want to specifically go? I would imagine you would want to see what security footage, you would want to see the rooms where the patients were, anything else?
We'll start there.
Yeah, it seems like a good place to start.
All
Oh,
right.
I'm sorry.
Leans over to
I'm sorry. You guys are supposed to be leading this. I'm only supposed to be watching, reporting on you.
You just have an instinct.
he leans over to I can't I'm gonna go with Margin this time. He leans over and just like whispers in her ear, we need to talk to Orderly Bryce.
Oh, and also, Orderly Bryce. We'd like to speak with Orderly Bryce eventually.
All right. Yes, I can certainly do that. Richard is on this floor today, so I could take you by to speak with him as well. And she like sort of looks down at her clipboard and looks back up. She says, "In the future," and she looks at Magnolia. She says, "If you have something to share, you can share it with the class." And she turns.
He
and
smiles and
walks.
nods as if to be like, acknowledge.
And leads you in that direction. You come back out into that sort of central socialization area of the administrative wing. Ed is still there with his notebook. There's another patient present as well, who sort of watches you enter and sort of sizes you up as you go past. But as you get closer, Ed sort of says, "Detective Avon,
Yes, Ed?
we're going to have our meeting now. Are we going to talk? I have some important things to share, and I've set up a meeting with my secretary, and you are my next slot."
Oh, Mr. Whist, that is so kind of you. I know that I came to you a little last minute with my request for a meeting. Everyone, you go ahead, get started on your investigation, and I will meet up with you later after I have my very important meeting with Mr. Whist.
And he like takes another one of those plasticine chairs and like positions it next to him. And sort of gestures for you to sit down. The rest of you are taken down a hallway, and Nurse Samagina says, "We won't be going far. I can see the fear in your eyes. Don't worry. We're just gonna go and find Orderly Bryce. He is down around the corner and in the men's wing." And you go a little further, and you all, whoever wants to, sort of looks back. Sort of that main area where Margin is sitting with Ed. And
Magnolia is totally doing that because he's like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like,
mhm.
just,
Better
yeah.
her than me. I don't want to talk to that guy. He gives me the creeps. Honestly.
There's a little bit of a twitch from Nurse Samagina when you say that. And a little, not a sigh, but a little. Margin. Ed sits you down and says, "Please, have a seat.
Thank
Right here.
you.
Right here." And he takes his notebook and he rapidly, it's this big, thick, well, it's just like these. It's just like these, right? It's one of these notebooks.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Marble
Without
composition.
wire, nothing dangerous. And he flips through to an empty page. And he starts writing in there and he says, "Agent Avon, what's your first name?"
I would not hesitate. I would not hesitate like this. Just, Julia.
Name, rank. Julia Avon, rank.
Whatever rank I'm supposed to be according to.
What organization are you with?
I am a state officer.
State officer. He sort of
Listen, dog. I don't believe in authority. Whatever.
I know. Let him have it. Let him have it.
If you want it to be really local, you're a fucking statey.
Oh yeah.
Massachusetts State Police. How long have you been with them?
Goodness, about 15 years.
15 years. That's a long time.
Yes.
What's your name?
Julia Avon.
What's your real name?
Julia Avon. Ed.
And that's where we're going to take our break. We are going to go away for about 10-15 minutes. I'm having so much fun tonight, and we're already it's already 9 o'clock on my time. So who knows? Maybe we'll go long tonight. I don't know. Maybe we don't have jobs, right? Okay. So everyone come back in maybe 10-15, get a snack, get a drink, and then join us when we return.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Dorchester House here on Impossible Landscapes with MCell, our Delta Green crew. Liv, do you want to tell everyone what happened over break?
So I have a dog. I have a beautiful little puppy named
You got a dog over break?
Didey. Named Didey. And you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Yeah. Because she decided that she wanted to help out with notes and ate like a whole section of my notebook while I was in the restroom because I was like, you're a big girl and I can trust you and I can't.
There are malevolent forces working in ways that you can't expect. Daiti is in the thrall of something.
Oh, she definitely,
nasty.
she's a big fan of the Yellow King. I know for a
Gotcha.
fact.
Oh,
Gotcha.
we're going to put it on.
Let's go back and join Mayday, Maple, and Magnolia, and Nurse Samagina. As you are on the third floor of the Dorchester House, you are walking down one of the wings, which quickly becomes apparent is the women's wing of the third floor of the Pokey. And she says, okay, you want to talk to Richard? He should be here somewhere. Let's look. And all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, you hear this yelling coming from inside one of the rooms. And you hear this voice inside go, she's done what? I can hear it, I can feel it. What is it doing here? I can't have that here. And you hear another voice inside being like, it's okay, it's all right, it's I'm sure it's nothing. I can go and check. And she's like, tell her she has to take it out. I don't want it here. And the door opens, and on the inside you see a woman. She's not restrained, but she's obviously a patient, and she's pacing around. And out of the room comes this big orderly, and by big I don't mean like Richard Dallin, like just physically big boned, lots of mass. This dude is like muscular. He is obviously in very good shape, and he sort of looks out into the hallway and he says, oh, hi, Esther. Hi. Do any of you have do any of you have cell phones?
Yeah, I got my BlackBerry right here.
Oh God, no! Put her. And the woman inside starts screaming again, and she's like, and she is just like, he's like, okay, it's all right, Dorothy, it's all right. Hold on. Esther, could you she's like, yeah. We'll keep moving. All right. Just if you need to strap Dorothy down, we can get a starfish. Give me a second. And she says, we need to just walk a little bit faster. That is Dorothy's room, and she is she doesn't have a good relationship with electronics. She says, and she can hear voices when people have electronics. And she says, but if we just keep on moving, and you can hear the voice fading as you walk away, you're like, call him back, call him back! You have to call him back! And just keep moving.
I think two things. One, I think Magnolia looks at Maple and he says, and two, I think one thing Maple and Nene would both notice about Magnolia is how, with all the sudden shouting and all that, he is notably unmoved by that. Like, doesn't flinch, barely takes notice of it.
I would wager that Nurse Samagina notices this as well.
Probably.
Maple is actually the opposite. She's a little frazzled right now.
Um,
And you can see her, like, powering off the Blackberry right now.
Nurse Samagina sort of takes stock of this too, and once you get a good distance away from Dorothy's room, she says, why don't we, there's like a little area where there's just a few chairs set up in the hall. She goes, why don't we just stop right here? And she says, I'm so sorry because I didn't ask any of your names, and sometimes I get so focused and, you know, all business. And she looks at Maple and she says, what's your name, dear?
Stafford, dear.
Stafford. Okay, are you all right? Do you need something to drink?
You know what? Yeah,
It's startling.
actually, a glass of water would be nice. If I had known that you had a patient that had a problem with cell phones, I would have powered mine down earlier, at least.
You know, honestly, we don't think about it because on this floor the patients aren't allowed to have them, so we don't. Of course, we should have them turned over when people come in. But actually, and she turns to Magnolia and Mayday, and she says, "Just down the hall, there's a water cooler. If you, would you mind?" And she like crouches down by Maple and sort of like folds her hands, just like puts one hand on Maple's back, in a very like motherly, like comforting thing. And
Magnolia looks to Mayday
crouches
and say, I will follow your lead on this one.
So Mayday also looks a little bit wide-eyed, maybe not as frazzled as Maple to grab the attention of an orderly, but hearing the "you have to call him back" part obviously resonated with her a little bit because she's, you know, if this person is aware of said situation. Anyway, so she'll kind of like look wide-eyed and just kind of nod and almost like robotically turn on her heel and start walking in the direction that the orderly just pointed.
what does Magnolia do?
Yeah, he just kind of does like a, come on, Mayday, with us. Doesn't say that, of course, but just walks with Mayday to the cooler.
So we stay with Esther and with Maple, and she says, I'm sorry, I don't mean, I know you're obviously a grown woman. I don't want to give the impression I'm like doting on you or something like that. I just want to make sure you're okay. Are you all right? Sweetie, I can't hear you. Speak up.
You did.
Huh?
Sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
It just startled my old heart, you know. I haven't been out in the field for a while, you know. I'm checking. I'm with the rest because they're doing this investigation, and I'm, you know, doing an auditing thing, right? But I haven't been in the field for years, kind of thing, and that just brought back some stuff. That's all. But I do appreciate. I appreciate the intention. Actually, it's sweet. You're sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, not everybody agrees, but and she's like sort of rubbing your back a little bit, and it feels like she's just a little bit closer than she was a moment ago, and like not uncomfortably close yet, but like she's just looking at you and looking right at you. And she says, "Do you do this a lot? Do you go around with officers in the field?"
Nah, not really. Wasn't, you know, paperwork mostly.
Have you had a lot of success in your career?
Yeah, I've always been a very successful woman.
You get worried by your past failures?
No, not so much. They're in the past. I'm past that point. That's why it's called the past.
Hmm. Who is the most exceptional person you've ever known? And she's even just a little bit closer. And she's like, not trying to make eye contact with you, but she's just like, her eyes unblinking, just boring into you.
Maple is making attempts not to look directly into her eyes, and it's difficult because, as you put them, they're right there, and it's kind of hard not to look at them. She's trying her best not to, and is kind of at this point then underneath that touch is just shivering a little bit.
Are you cold?
No, I'm fine. I mean, I got my sweater. I'm good.
Yeah.
Old bones, you know. This is how it is.
You think we
I
carry
look
our
great
past?
I look great for my age.
She just smiles. You think our past follows us?
Maybe. I mean, you get as old as I am, and, you know, as close to the end as I am, a lot of that, it's gone. It disappears. It's not really with you, so honestly, no. You get past it.
Have you ever, and she gets halfway through the sentence, and from another patient room across the hall, you hear this low moan. This, and she sort of regards it, like turns her head slightly. That's okay. That's just sunshine.
So you shouldn't go and check on them?
Like, good. Do you want to come with me?
If you don't mind, might as well.
And at this point, Magnolia and Mayday return. And she takes you to this room, and she says, you can ask Sunshine any questions you want, but you're not going to get an answer. And she opens the door, and in this room, there is, strangely enough, this beam of sunlight coming through the window, and the sun's getting a little bit lower in the sky. It's mid-afternoon. And seated in a wheelchair in the center of the room is a figure that is like set with advanced age. It's one of those cases where it seems like they're past 100. How far past? You don't know. Like, they don't have much hair. They have a few wisps of gray on top of their head. You have trouble identifying their gender, but you're guessing they present as female. They're on this side of the hospital, and they are almost shriveled up to the point of like, oh god, like fucking Lord Voldemort and Harry's dream in the last Harry Potter movie. Like, you know, they are just reduced down to this. Yeah, and they're just sitting there in their hospital gown, and he says, and she says, Esther, as she walks in, she says, Sunshine, that's the first time I've heard you say anything in a long time. And she walks in and she sort of like crouches down next to them. And
Magnolia wordlessly hands Maple one of those little triangular paper cups of water.
She says, Sunshine, these people are detectives. And the figure in the chair like turns their head just a little bit. She says, oh, she's interested in that. Yeah, they're investigating a case. And she like sort of smiles at you and she says, she can't tell anyone anything anyway. Yeah. Doesn't even know that anybody's missing, you know? And she says, why don't you come around here? She like waves you over. And you come around to the other side and she says, this is Agent. I'm sorry. What was her name again? What was it? What was
Stafford.
Maple's? What was it?
Stafford.
Stafford. This is Agent Stafford and her friends and the figure in the chair. Like they don't move their body at all, but their eyes look up at the three of you. And all of you can make me an alertness check or hument. Hument would be even better if you got that. Either one.
70 out of 70.
7
Success.
out of 50.
Critical success. 55 out of 70.
The two successes, you see her make eye contact with you and like size each of you up. Magnolia, behind this cloud of whatever is afflicting this person, behind whatever veil is over her face, you know, like over her psyche, over her mental capacities, there's a spark in her eyes when she sees you. And you can't figure out what it is. Maybe she's happy to meet someone new. Maybe she recognizes you or one of you. But just as quickly, it's gone. She says, okay, Sunshine needs to rest. So let's go back and see if Richard is willing to give us a few minutes, yeah? And she turns and walks out of the room and holds the door open for you.
Maple is going to, when we're walking out, is going to kind of have gripped Margin's sleeve a little.
Okay. Margin's not there. Mayday or Magnolia?
Sorry, Mayday. I meant. Mayday's sleeve a little.
And I'll kind of put a hand on your on your arm for a second, just to kind of almost pat it, and then let my arm fall back down. Also, when we were at the water cooler, would it be possible for me to have turned my phone off?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think I have very high alertness, so I just think that, I mean, you can tell me if I have to roll for this, but Magnolia is clocking, as far as I'm concerned, he is clocking the emotional disturbance from these two. Like, I could roll for it if you want, but I just think
how's his hument?
Hument is 40.
Pretty decent. Why don't you roll hument for me and see what kind of read he gets from his fellow agents, right?
I'm gonna use a hero point. I rolled a fail on that one. I got a 47.
Okay, use that hero point. Burn it.
And that's a success. 17 out of 40.
They're both bothered by something, for sure.
I just think
they're on guard.
There was the jump when
Of the woman, yeah.
Well, there was the jump when Mayday heard call him back from the guy from the lady screaming, and then there was whatever Maple went through, and I just think that he's picking up that this is affecting them in a way that it's not affecting him, and he is conscious of that.
Well, you'd pick up that the before with the phone, that was just a literal jump scare of an old lady. Like that one just startled her. She wasn't expecting it. She got startled. And then the feeling that she's got now after you guys went to go get water and come back, that is a different level of disturbance. That's something that's really unsettling.
And then whatever that little shared moment that was just between Mayday and Maple, that they're kind of supporting each other a little bit now, it seems, of a little bit of passing support. He's just clocking that, and it's working up here. It's
Yeah.
he's always kind
also
of looking
self-reflecting.
for weakness, I think. Yeah, I just think there's like, there's a little bit of, is this going to be a problem that he's kind of storing away?
Back with Margin and Ed Wist, he has been writing down all the answers you give him to these questions, and he's like, "So really, just Avon, right? That's your name?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. It's a good name, strong.
It's
name.
not my pen name, but that's a different conversation.
Pen name. Okay, so are you a
Yeah.
writer?
Yes.
Do you like to write fiction or nonfiction?" He says.
Ooh. I guess that depends on who you ask, right? I would argue and tell my publisher that it's fiction, but a lot of my fans find some truth in it.
Who's your publisher?
Oh God, who? Ostrich Books, not to be
Ostrich
confused with
Books.
Penguin Books.
I need to know, out of character, is that really her publisher's name? Is that truthful?
Yeah.
Okay. He goes, Ostrich Books, and he writes something down. He says, I have been asking questions nonstop, and it's only fair that you get a turn, and you can ask me questions, any questions you want. I could tell you everything I know. I know the people who disappeared. I talked with them all the time.
Well,
I know
would love
what
to know.
happened.
You know, Ed, I would love to know all of those things. But can I ask you one more question first?
You can ask me any question you want. It's your turn.
Thank you. How are you doing? How's your day?
It's usually not the kind of question that I deal with. My day's going okay.
Okay is the best we can do sometimes.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, Tim? And he yells like across the room. And there is another patient who's sort of like, like he's got this posture of very closed. I'm very tight. And he's like, don't yell at me, Ed. Don't yell. And Ed's like, I'm not yelling. This is my normal speaking volume.
I'm just going to wave at this person. I'm not going to speak up. I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to wave.
He waves back a little bit. And Ed says, that's Tim. Tim was in the army. Weren't you, Tim?
Oh, maybe
Tim's
we
like-
really shouldn't yell. Maybe we should whisper.
And Tim is like trying to regulate. Like he's like trying not to overreact to Ed kind of. And Ed's like whispering.
Yeah. Tim.
He laughs. That's funny. You're looking for the 3 people who went missing.
Yes, I am.
What do you want to know?
So you said you knew them. How well did you know them? What did you all
Super
talk
well.
about?
Super well.
Super well.
Super well. One of them, their favorite food was Jell-O. Orange Jell-O.
Who liked orange Jello?
The
Cal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says,
Yeah.
yeah, Cal.
Cal liked orange Jello. Thank you.
Cal liked orange Jell-O best. Cal's sister works for an airline. Cal's sister is going to be laid off next week.
And how do you know that?
I know a lot of things.
Oh, but how?
It's in my book.
Can I see your book? One writer to another.
Tenses. No.
Okay. I respect the process.
What do you want to know about the staff? I can tell you things about the staff.
I would rather talk about the people. So you know what happens, what happened. I think, Ed, I'm going to be honest. I think you're a guy that knows a lot of things. I'm a smart person. I know a smart person when I see one. So you know what happened, and I would love to know what you know.
One day they were here, and they were here at lockdown after dinner. And then, they were gone. They were gone like a magic trick. They were gone. They vanished. They disappeared. The restraints were still on their beds, and their doors were still locked. I was in my room, but I could see. I could see through the window because I have eyes everywhere.
You
Do
know,
you understand, Julia?
Ed, I do. Ed, can I ask you one more question?
It's Ed or
Hmm?
Tim? This is Tim.
This is Ed talking.
Yeah.
This is
Tim
Ed.
is still on the other side of the room.
Ed, you have eyes everywhere. You said they disappeared like a
Everywhere.
magic trick.
My agents are everywhere. My agents.
Your agents. Do your agents have a name?
They all have names. Don't be strange.
Right. Do you have agents, or do you? I almost thought for a second you were a guy with magic, but it seems like you're maybe a
Magic.
different. Maybe.
No, I'm just a guy with resources. I'm a guy with a reputation.
I mean, rich people tend to have a lot of resources, don't they, Ed?
I wouldn't know. I'm nothing. I'm penniless. Nothing to my name.
Right.
You can make me a human there if you want.
I will. Oof, failure.
Hmm?
I failed.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I do like a good calamari, I have to admit. I've been really enjoying some of the local foods.
Can I give you some advice?
Yeah.
If you have calamari, don't reheat it in a microwave.
You know, I really appreciate that.
It's kind of a mistake people don't make twice.
Oh no. And now I'm not even gonna make it once because you were kind enough to share that knowledge with me. And I
Not even
make
once.
a big
Not
show of
even
writing it
once.
down in my notebook.
Maybe never again.
Maybe never again.
Goes back to writing in his notebook. Our meeting's over.
Thank you for this.
Come back and see me before you leave.
That's very kind
I'll
of you
have
to
something
offer.
for you.
Okay.
He's doing this. He's just interrupting you.
Thank you. Nice.
And where do you go from there? Do you want to go talk to Tim? You gonna go down the hall, find the others? You gonna go off on your own?
I am going to talk to Tim, actually, I think.
Tim sees you approaching. He's like, "Hi, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize for anything.
Really, loud noises aren't great for me.
Yeah. No. And you don't need to apologize for that.
I have
Somebody
PTSD
else-
and I have night terrors and social anxiety disorder and depression.
Mm.
And everyone thinks I'm any sort of trails off.
Everyone thinks that you are...
It's not important.
I'd like to know.
I'm sorry. We should introduce ourselves. I'm Timothy Bale.
Timothy Bale. Nice to meet you.
Tim. People call me Tim, except for Nurse Samagina. She calls me Timothy Bale. She calls everyone by their full name.
She would call me Julia Avon.
Julie Avon. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Are you here because of the people?
What was that? Oh, yes, the people.
The people.
Yes, I am. Do you know anything about any of them? Cal or Tim? Was it Tim? No.
Tom.
Tom or Lila?
No, not a lot. I know they're gone.
Hmm.
I know why they're gone. They don't exist yet. They'll be back.
Why are they gone? Wait,
Do you know
mean these
Stephen Curson? He takes a notebook out, his own little book, and he flips it open. Do you know a Stephen Curson?
Do I know a Stephen Curson?
Rolling an N times 5.
That's a success.
It's close to a name that's familiar to you.
It is. A Stephen Curson. Tell me about Mr. Curson?
He's an army. He served with me in Iraq. No, Afghanistan is what Justin said earlier. He was with me in Afghanistan. I don't think he's got a place to stay now. I think he went down to New York. He had a pet snake.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had any pets?
No.
No?
I wish I had a pet.
What would you have?
A fish.
Ooh, very pretty. Just one or a whole school?
I think one's all I can handle.
Hey, that's plenty. I'm sure your fish would be very happy to have you.
Have you been here in the hospital for long?
No, I haven't. I've only been here for about a day. Well, not a day, a few hours.
What do you think about it?
I haven't been around much. I've only been here with you lovely folks.
Okay.
Now, can I ask you something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You said that they're not here yet, and you say you don't know much about them, but have you ever heard of an Abigail Wright?
His eyes just like open just a little bit, like eyebrows go up just a fraction of an inch. It was on the wall.
And that's the only time you've ever
In
heard
those
of it?
rooms. I don't know who wrote it on the wall, but I heard them using that person's name.
They talked about her.
They were saying what was written on the wall. Abigail Wright has gone to sea, across the waves to rescue me on a ship both tall and fine. She rounds the corner, marking time. I'm surprised it didn't happen later. Surprised they didn't go missing later at night.
Why?
It's loud. It's loud. It's hard to sleep. It's kind of spooky. All those people in the silver robes and the white masks making so much noise.
Silver robes, white mat. Okay, so what do they do?
I don't know. I figured they were part of my treatment. Let's go back to meet Richard Bryce. You spot Richard Bryce. He is walking away from all of you, and Nurse Samagina says, "Richard Bryce! Richard, slow down." And he stops, and you see that he's still got his scrubs on, but he's carrying a very big gym bag over one shoulder. He's like, "Yeah, I'm off the clock. Get this weight. I'm my shift's done. I gotta go." She says, "These detectives." She looks at all of you for confirmation.
Magnolia just wordlessly just flashes the badge, just like a don't fucking move. We're cops.
They're looking into the missing patients, and he like gives this big sigh. He's like, "And that was the one on. Yeah, okay, all right. Would you mind? Can they walk with me? Can we? I need to get down to my car. I don't want to be late." Esther's like looks for you like, do you want to talk to him? Walk and talk, or do you want to stay here? Or
there were 3 people missing under your watch. You don't have 5 minutes to chat with us before you go?
Make me a persuasion check, because that's pretty good. I'm gonna give you a
his
persuasion
ass.
check
Get his
at a plus
ass.
10. I'm gonna give you a plus 10 on that, Lonnie.
Okay.
So because that's a really good pull.
Gonna make the old lady continue to walk, I guess.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. And you got the
Yeah,
modifier on there and everything. He says, yeah, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Come on over here. There's a meeting room. And he takes you into this room that is, it's all just linoleum floor, chairs in a circle.
Nurse, Semgina, are you okay with sitting outside just so he can feel a little bit more comfortable talking with us?
I guess, yeah, I can just sort of loiter. That's fine.
Thank you.
And she sort of goes by the doorway, and he takes you in there. And he takes he sets his bag down by the door, and he takes one of the chairs and sits down on it, and it looks ridiculous because it's kind of a small chair. He's a big guy. Says, okay, what can I tell you? I was supposed to check on them.
I shut the door. So we're in here private. I don't know if Nurse Jean is offended by that, but yeah, I definitely.
You don't hear a reaction from her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was the one who was on duty. I took them to the nurses' station. They got their meds. I put them in the restraints. And then I got distracted. I got a phone call. I should have been checking up on them all the time. I didn't get around to it until 8:30. I came back. Tom's missing, and then Cal, and then Lila, and what else can I tell you?
Did you take the phone call on this floor?
Oh, stairwell, yeah. Why?
Well, we've met a patient that seems to have some trouble with electronics.
Dorothy.
Is that out of range for her troubles? Were you able to keep her at ease at least?
Honestly, she hasn't had an outburst like that in a while. Usually the meds keep her kind of low key about electronics. I don't know what set her off today. But I shouldn't have had my phone on me too. So he looks kind of guilty. He says, I know that I messed up, I know that I was supposed to be checking in on them and stuff like that, and they were my responsibility, and Dr. Dallin already let me have it, and Esther already let me have it, and...
So you think you're off the hook because 2 people have yelled at you now?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, the doors were locked. Those windows in the rooms, those don't open.
Well, she'll kind of gesture towards Magnolia, as my, one of my partners recently pointed out, you're supposed to be checking them every 15 minutes. Is that correct? And you just...
Yes, that's right. That's standard protocol. Usually it's more like 30.
The law says 15 and you do 30. Okay.
It's not
Already
something
a
I
big
would advise
start.
saying to a police officer, sir.
I'm trying to be honest. What can I tell you?
Why were all 3 of them in restraints? Is that normal for them every single evening? Or was this an outstanding incident?
These 3 particular patients, we tend to restrain those people who are a danger to themselves. And past few weeks, they've been sort of like throwing themselves against walls. They've been, when they're supposed to be sleeping, they've been running around, and we've had to sort of up their meds. We've had to strap them down. I'm a big guy. I'm pretty strong, but really worked up. They kept on shouting crazy shit, fish people, and no, it's in the water system, and
Were all 3 of them saying the same things?
No. Why? I mean, it was all
No.
different. Like they weren't like collaborating or something.
Well, if one of them says there's something in the water, you just have to make sure you check up on everything.
Or making sure it's not a shared delusion between them, right? Like
That is
Sure.
a thing that could be
part of the
seen.
Investigation is finding, connections between people.
Right.
Right,
Yeah, I
three
get you.
people
I-
went
People
missing.
disappear.
Was
Three
there a
people disappear,
reason?
you look for commonalities between the three people. It's just standard operating procedure, sir.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm kind of pissed that what happened with the security footage happened because I mean, like,
I'm sorry, what?
We haven't gotten a chance to look at the security footage yet. You were kind of high on the list.
his face falls a little bit. He's like, you gotta talk to Michael about that. He's the guy in charge of security.
You're gonna have
It's
to
not
tell
my, it's
me
not my
right
business.
now.
Yeah, give us
What
a little
happened?
heads up with what we're dealing with here.
After it happened, they go. The first thing they did was check all the footage, and Mike, who is the guy who does, he's an orderly, but he does security and tech, and something happened. The footage, something about corruption, error, said it's really common, but there's nothing on it.
From when does the footage cut out? What time?
I don't know, but like that whole time that they were in there, there was nothing.
Great.
Three
So let's start
high-risk
with what you do
patients
know.
were-
Bryce, let's start with what you do know. You took a phone call around about 6:30
Yeah, from my mom.
from your mother.
And who was
You
the
were on the
last
phone?
out of the three patients? Who was the last one you saw?
It would have been Cal. Cal was the last one I locked in.
So you ended
Yeah.
in the male wing.
Yeah, I started over here with Lila and then walked over there.
My question is, were you on the phone for an hour and a half in a stairwell with your mother?
No, I locked them down. I went out into the common area. I had a 15-minute break. And then I was, walking up and down the hallways. I wasn't necessarily like checking every room, but just listening for any disturbances. And I guess maybe 45 minutes to an hour after I locked down, I got the phone call. I talked to my mom for a good long while.
Your mother can corroborate that story.
Yeah.
Could you please provide us her contact information?
Yeah, he takes out a little piece of paper and writes down Linda Bryce, Darby, Massachusetts, phone number. Hands it over.
Thank you.
Yep. Sure, no problem.
So when you found that Timothy wasn't in the room, did you end up having to check
Thomas was the one who wasn't in the
Sorry,
room.
Thomas, not Timothy.
No, it's okay.
Assume that character said the right one. When you found Thomas wasn't in the room, did you end up then having to check every subsequent room until you got to Cal's and then Leela's, or did you go straight to those two rooms?
No, we saw Thomas wasn't there around 8:30, sometime around there. And so right away, we go to count, Everyone goes into motion. We go up and down the halls, checking every single room. So we noticed that Cal wasn't in his room either. And then by the time we got over to the women's wing, we figured that, two guys are missing. There's probably nobody else involved, but we came over to this side and Lila was gone.
These three, did they previously interact to any great extent? Did they know each other? Did they socialize?
Honestly, these three were pretty far gone, And I don't mean to be insensitive, but like,
As long as you don't mean to be.
they didn't. That flies right over his head. They didn't talk to anybody. They just sort of ranted or yelled, or they were so doped up that they were kind of comatose.
As you sit here right now, Bryce, you can't think of a thing that these three people who up and disappeared in the middle of the night like a magic trick, you can't think of anything that they had in common with one another.
They're all patients. I think they were all military before.
They were all military before.
Something like that. I think one was a cop, maybe. I don't know. Some sort of, your line of work.
You work with a lot of ex-military here, Brass?
Yeah, we get a lot of patriots come through.
Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, there's these guys. There's John. There's Tim Bale. He's ex-military. There's a few others. There's he starts listing people and said there's what did I say? John. There's Matt. Matt. They don't call him Matt. They got a nickname for him.
Have you ever has anyone else here ever mentioned Abigail Wright before it was on the wall?
Not to my knowledge, no.
None of those three ever remember hearing it.
No, even like when they're yelling. I mean, I get nearful, but I don't remember that name. And none of them like poetry or nothing.
Magnolia just like straightens up and he thinks for a moment and he's like, maybe I can use this. And he thinks he's gotten what he's going to get out of this guy. So he looks to Maple and Mayday and is like, y'all got this from here? I have an idea. Just going to excuse myself, if you don't mind. And he, thinking that he can probably have a better time speaking to patients who are veterans, he's going to excuse himself from this room to go talk to some patients.
Okay. You exit and Nurse Imogena walks you and everything okay?
Yeah. Oh, wait. With
Richard Bryce, he's a good kid. He's just, he fucked up and he knows it.
Priscilla Bryce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving. They're.
Yeah, she's talking to you.
Oh yeah, he just when you said everything all right, he just goes.
Got it. Okay.
And he indicates I'm gonna go over.
Where are you going? You going to the men's wing? You're going to a different floor? Where are you going? Just so I know. You going to look for a female vet? You're gonna.
You're Justin asking me that.
I am.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's good. He served with men. He's gonna go to the men's wing.
Okay. You walk through that common area. You see Margin talking with another patient. And
he
at
gestures
Whist,
to be like, "Nope, you good, Margin?"
Where you going, Ed? Where you going, big guy? Ed's talking to you.
And he kind of shuffles
What's your
closer.
sports team?
Go Sox.
He stares at you a little too long. Yeah, go Sox. I don't know. I'm talking like this. I'm from California, but yeah, go Sox.
Go Dodgers!
They got a game this weekend. You want tickets? I get you tickets on the third baseline. All right.
Great entertainment for a primarily audio medium, by the way. Glad I could help.
He shakes his head vehemently no, clearly distressed.
Ed waves away Magnolia dismissively. All right. Keep on walking. Muscles.
He salutes almost too formally to Ed.
Ed gives you a sloppy salute back. Back with Richard Bryce. What are you two asking him? Anything else?
I can't think of anything else to ask unless you have something.
I was actually gonna say I was gonna give you a look to see if you had anything, and then if not, then kind of do that Well, I asked for 5 minutes of your time. I'd hate to take more than that.
Yeah.
A big sigh of relief.
I think I got what I need for the time being. Although don't be surprised if we contact you again.
Or your mother, apparently.
Yep, that's fine. No, I really appreciate it, but I also appreciate you respecting my time. I mean, we don't want to be late, so thank you. And he goes over and
Where are you going, by the way? Just
Jim.
Jim.
Then we'll see what happens next. You know,
Have a
Sometimes-
good workout.
sometimes we don't decide until like a little bit later. And he picks up that gym bag. And he picks it up and it's like it looks like it's real heavy.
Does he have
And
his
he-
weights already in the bag?
What's that?
I was just making a stupid
If
joke.
he has weights,
Does he have his weights already in the bag? He's bringing the gym with him.
Significant.
Jim is heading where you want it to be.
Wait, I'm a nosy old lady. Let's go with that. What's in the... Why does gym bag look so particularly heavy?
Oh, equipment.
I mean, what kind? You
I got
bring...
weights. I got free weights. I got a water bottle. I got
Is that
So it's-
safe to bring into this place?
Well, you
why
got-
do keep that in your car.
when you got a body like this and he like flexes one of his arms like a douchebag. He goes, when you got a body like this, it's safe. And he slings this bag over his shoulders like, all right, come on. And he walks out.
Magnolia's gonna suplex this fucking guy.
And you guys sort of follow him for a little bit. See him go past the common area towards the stairs and go in. Make me an awareness check. Alertness for both of you.
Ah, so close.
We're not close at all.
Oh, they.
0 point?
That's
Is
two
that
big
my point?
fails, folks at home.
That is, yeah, 2 big fails. Not crits. Not critical failures.
Just shit.
Do we have hero points?
I have no idea.
Nobody knows. Well, if you
Hold
don't
on.
know, you don't
Now you
know.
do. I just don't.
Oh,
know.
okay.
There you
I'll
go.
just drop one.
Redo that again, Mayday. I think
Only one
you
of
had
you
the
gets to
best
reroll.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. You're
Okay.
because I have a 40 and you're
I
okay.
have a 20.
Yeah.
Okay, not another
Oh,
98.
wait.
Let's go.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Hey, success. 26.
He gets to the door into the stairwell, and he pauses for just a brief second, and sort of like takes his gym bag and inclines his head a little bit, and says something to his gym bag, and then is out the door.
Like a douche.
I did.
I did not clock that. You did, so it's on you.
I basically just do like that thing where I'm like, and then I follow him
Okay.
and
Take
kind
off
of like
after him.
look back at Maple like as I'm already walking. I'm just
Maple,
like,
where are you going? Maple, what do you do?
Maple's gonna. You know what? She's got this. She's spry. She can figure this out. I'm gonna go. The nurse is still here, right?
Yeah, Esther's standing right there.
Well, I might as well check out Leela's room then, if you can show me it.
Lila. Yeah, Lila.
Lila,
She,
sorry.
right over here. And she takes you over to Lila's room. I believe Lila's was the one with the writing in it. And so she opens it up for you. It is pretty plain. The third floor rooms do not have much in the way of decorations or anything else. It's just kind of a bed. It has what appears to be like straps that are like underneath the bed, come out at the wrists and ankles. I mean, there's a window. The only thing out of the ordinary here is right next to the bed. On the wall is all this like paper. It looks like it was ripped out of like newspapers and mass market paperbacks and other things that they could get their hands on. And written on there is that poem, just like the picture. It's brown now, that writing. It's been a few days.
Maple will pull out of her coat pocket. She does have a pair of like rubber gloves.
Okay.
She will put them on and bring out a plastic bag and start collecting those papers.
You absolutely can do that, and you collect all of them. And Margin, talking with Tim.
Yes.
What did Tim say to you last?
There are people in silver robes and white masks that walk around late at night and make a lot of noise.
Thought it was a part of his treatment.
Yep, and he thought it was part of his treatment. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And at that point, you see Richard Bryce walk past you. You see a pause at the door. You see Mayday follow behind. And you've already seen Magnolia go past and talk to Ed. And it's like a lot happening at once. And when you turn back, Ed is like already distracted. He's somewhere else. And he's like, I'm gonna go get some water.
Okay. If you have anything else you want to share, please come find me, okay?
I have something I want to share.
Okay. Let's hear
You
it.
gotta promise me. You gotta make me a promise.
What do you want?
Well, and he sort of comes in a little uncomfortably close, and he says, he holds up this like folded little piece of paper. He hands it to you. He says, you gotta promise me that you aren't gonna read this until you're out of the building, otherwise they're gonna take it. You know, I'm just gonna hang on to it till you leave. And he's obviously like playing with you, like a cat with a mouse.
Okay. Whatever works best for you.
Okay. He like sticks it into like the seam or like the waistband of his like elastic pants.
Yeah.
I
So
don't have pockets.
that's fair. I do have pockets if you want to slip it into mine, but before you do that, you should tell me what you wanted to tell me.
I don't know. I just nobody's who they're pretending to be, you know? State troopers. You're not state troopers. Who are you? I gotta make a phone call. And he like goes off toward the administrative wing.
I'm going to basically trail him to listen in. I'm not chasing him down. I'm not following him. I'm
Sure.
going to walk around.
Trying to eavesdrop.
Yeah, eavesdrop, yeah.
Okay. What kind of role do you think you want to make here? You want to be stealthy? Do you want alertness?
I mean, alertness is better. I'll take alertness.
Yeah, you can do that.
Cool. Still failed. Fuck. Okay. Doesn't matter.
You hear him like go up to one of the nurses. The nurses have these like nurses stations with like these big like reinforced glass where like inside they obviously keep all the meds and and things like that. And he goes up to this woman and he goes, Nurse Vors, I need to make a phone call. And the woman in the glass goes, Ed, you can't do that. You are not allowed to use the phones in the nurses station. You have to sign up for a time and then come back later. And he says, come on, I gotta call my lawyers. And she says, Ed, I know you love making phone calls, but you'll have to wait. And he goes, ah! and he like kicks the wall as hard as he can, and he goes storming off towards the men's wing. Magnolia,
That's how we.
you are
pronounce
in the
it,
men's
right?
wing. It is similar to the women's wing. There are doors up and down. You don't see any people milling about at the moment in the residential wing. What are you looking for?
1,000-yard stairs, I suppose.
Any of
I
those?
feel like yeah, I mean, I think he recognizes the signs. You know, someone who's seen combat, somebody who's seen the kind of things that he has seen. And I don't mean at the Golden Corral. And he's looking for that kind of connection that he could have with somebody, hopefully. And he, of course, he's not an idiot, so he's not above asking for directions. So I think he's very, very hesitant to speak too openly around, especially the nurse, because she seems tough and I think would ask a lot of questions. The head nurse there,
Yeah.
Esther. But he thinks
Past
probably
that same nurse's station. If you,
oh,
that's
that
no
that
problem.
oh,
Yeah, it was kind of in the middle. It was near the administrative wing.
We do know that Boris was the most likely one to actually know all three of the agents.
oh, that nurse. Did he hear? Okay, well, I guess my question: one, did he hear Ed just freak out down the hall?
Just about now, yes, he would.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think he wants to investigate that, but before he goes, I want him to scan this room to try to get an understanding of people he thinks he can relate to.
Yeah, this is a hallway, and so you go by room. Some are empty. You remember Dr. Dallin saying, or maybe it was Gail saying that most of the population's at the second floor. That's the highest population floor, just because it's like in the middle, right? It's the median. And so a couple empty rooms, and then you come to a room, and there's a man in there. He is very tall. But he's also really thin, with this like longish, unkempt, shaggy hair. And he is just sort of walking around his room, and he sees you, and he like smiles, waves. Hey.
Figures not too dangerous for the patient. Hello.
Hi. Want to come in? I can come out. Doesn't matter. He looks like he's in his like mid-40s.
Whatever's comfortable for you.
Well, some people get weirded out, and he sort of like comes out and says, "I'm John."
Hello, John. Yeah. Officer. He tries. Oh, how he tries to remember the name that Margin came up with earlier. And his brain goes to, he remembers Margin's name because she said it a few times. And it's only 2 syllables, and it's Avon. And he remembers what the name she came up with started with an L for him? Started with an L.
I remember it. I don't. You know.
And he's like, Avon, L, Avon.
Give me an int ×5 check, Colin.
I'm just going with this. Avon
Better
sold
wrote it
by.
down on your ID card.
And not let your
You're
dog
so
eat it.
right.
Oh, did he?
It's on your ID card.
Oh, it's
Did you
written
actually
down.
write it down, or did you?
Well, it's on the. If not there, if he didn't write it down, Gail Houston would have written it down on your key card.
I got a 48 out of 50.
Yeah, Levesque.
Thus ruining my joke, because I was gonna say he's like Avon sold by the Avon lady. Hi, I'm Officer Lady, but there goes my joke.
I ruined it.
I guess we gotta play the fucking
the truth.
game.
You were
Alright, so-
for your own good.
He goes, "Hi, I'm John Paylott. Nice to meet you." And he reaches out his hand to shake your hand, and you see that on his wrists are wide scars, recently healed.
How do you do, John? Shakes his hand.
As well as I can. You know, like he sort of like gestures and looks around him. Hey, you're an officer?
Yes, sir.
Did they let you come in here with weapons?
No, sir.
Roll me a deception check. Well, that's not true. No,
That's not true. I just told the question was, do they let us?
Yeah.
No.
He sizes you up. He's
not.
looking you up and down. He's like, okay, all right. What are you here looking for?
Well, I'm sure you heard about the 3 patients who flew the coop, as it were.
Yeah. I didn't pay much attention to it. Yeah.
Didn't pay much attention, but you heard about it.
People
Sure,
are talking
that's-
about it. I wasn't like, and I remember people were all running around. You know.
Yeah, could you tell me about that? What that night? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, I was still a little bit fuzzy.
Medication?
Yeah. It really. Ooh, let me tell you, you give them a reason, they will up those doses. What was your question?
The night that the 3 disappeared, you said you remembered everyone running around and whatnot.
Right.
What else do you
I remember
about that
one Orderly Bryce was yelling, saying, "Oh, where? I got one off count, and then everybody came down here. They searched every room. They found me. I was strapped to my bed, and they said there's another one." And then they went off running to the other end of the building.
To the women's wing.
Yeah.
And I suppose you know what happened when they got there.
Another missing person, I guess.
Bingo.
It's not my job to keep track of people. I mean, this isn't real
Well,
anyway.
I see. Well, no. First of all, it's not your job to keep track of people, not at all. But what do you mean it's not real?
I think at this point, I'd like to introduce someone else. Another agent is here. Who was coming around at Nurse Vors's station? Was that Mayday? Following? Yeah, you were following.
I think was.
Well-
I was following Bryce.
Okay. Well, we can say that you followed Bryce. He went downstairs. You followed Ed, right, Liv, and he threw a fit and ran off to the men's room. And so the first thing that happens is Ed comes storming down the hallway, goes into one of the rooms, and he's like slams the door, behind him. And it's like, "Oh, Ed's mad," says John.
Yeah. Does that happen frequently?
When you're in hell, it happens all the time.
Figuratively, of course, right?
Stares blankly at you.
Uh-huh. How long you been here, John?
Death. I'm not sure, to be honest. I've been under care for, gosh, what year is it?
2015, sir.
20 years.
20 years?
Yes, I mean, to the hospital in 95. And then, I'm here. If here is a here, and not somewhere else.
It's a difficult question, John. I believe that you and I are here speaking right now.
I believe we are in hell, and that the world that we see is an illusion, and death is the exit.
I see. John, do you
At
believe
that point, Mayday and Margin around the corner and see this conversation. Margin needs to make me an int check. There's a possibility she recognizes this man.
I thought so.
I'm going to give you a -10, though. It's tough. I mean, it's
what
been a
the
while.
fuck happened to did Bryce get to his car and disappear? Or what?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, Mayday's down the stairs.
Mayday was following Bryce.
Sorry.
Yeah,
you're right.
I wasn't sure if maybe it like let us past that nurse's station, but
I
I'm
gotcha.
still
I
following.
gotcha. But Margin's there. Did you roll me that check, Lev?
Not yet, but someone in the chat is losing it. They remember this
Losing
person.
their mind.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Holy shit! Y'all,
Liz,
that
do you
is
want
a
me-
1.
I got
Hey,
a
who-
one.
That is a massive critical. Do you want me to like tell you why you know this person?
I want you to.
Do you want me
tell
to dox you on
everything.
Dox this person. Give me
Is
good
it
social.
time?
this person was in a hospital room next to Dexter McDonald in 1995.
Oh shit, that John!
Oh my god, yeah, we're in hell.
Let's go to Mayday really
We're in
quick for one
room
last scene because we're
rules.
way over tonight. Mayday, you trail Richard Bryce down the stairs. Right? He goes down all the flights. And you're like trying to keep a distance, act casual.
I think once I see him about to like leave the building, I'm gonna just try to act like, I'm sorry. No, I told you I wasn't gonna take that much of your time. I just had one more question.
Huh?
Sorry.
He looks at the door. He looks at his bag. He's like in that sort of like welcome area or just before it by the nurse's station.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Got it
what-
right
what-
where I want him. He
Yeah.
can see freedom, but I'm not giving it to him. Sorry. So, listen, this is gonna sound a little weird. I know we came here for a much bigger thing, but every once in a while we do also just get some random reports of things going missing. And it's just one of those things we just like. It's not what we were called here for, but I want to just check up to see, orderly big bag, kind of leaving in a little bit of a hurry. Just want to.
I don't have time for this, and he turns and goes for the door.
I try to stop him.
How?
Get him.
Shoot.
I want to try to grab for the strap of the bag because that's a good idea.
I love that for
Mhm.
you. Let's
Do you?
do.
You really?
Let's do an opposed check here.
Mhm.
Okay. I gotta find some stats
Sneaky
from the
guy.
boy.
It's gonna be fun.
It's definitely not gonna work, but
It might.
That'll do. That'll do. So we're gonna do an opposed. What do you think? Athletics. Is that a thing?
athletics is a thing that exists.
Okay.
Absolutely. I have a feeling
I'll
that
tell
this
you.
buff dude that's pretending he's going to the gym might
He's
be a little more
real
athletic
buff.
than me.
I mean, he is visibly muscular,
Mhm.
And so I am going to give him, for athletics, I'm going to give him a 55. Okay.
Okay.
No, wait,
Yeah.
muscular. I'm going to give him a 65.
Mm.
And that's generous, right? And so the opposed checks, we both roll.
Mhm.
And if we both succeed, whoever has the higher one wins. The higher number rolled.
Mhm.
We both fail. Whoever has the lower fail wins. It's a thing. So here, I'll roll first if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Here we go. 37. That's a success.
Okay. Yeah, no, not gonna happen.
No, it's not. That's a fumble. And I'm going to tell you how this plays out. And this will be our last moment for today, just because we're running late, although we're having so much fun. Fun? Are we having fun? You go to grab at his bag, and he's already turning for the door, and so you miss the strap, like you miss the shoulder strap of the bag, and instead you accidentally get part of the zipper caught on your sleeve, and the zipper pulls back a little bit, and then he tears it away. But just in that one moment, you see something gauzy and white and bulky wrapped up inside that bag. And by that point, he's through the door. He's out to the parking lot. Do you follow him to see what happens next?
I was going to say, did he notice that I tried to grab the bag considering I missed?
I'll say no.
I'm going to be stupid and just go for another, just see if I can even get another glimpse of it.
You keep pace, and by this time he's like jogging to his car.
Mm-hmm.
And he pops the trunk remotely and takes the bag. And this time you hear him when he raises the bag up and he says, "It's okay, I'll get you out of here." And he puts it into the trunk, closes it, and peels out. And that's where we'll end today's session.
I have a gun in my briefcase.
And a silencer.
You also have my car keys. You have my car keys though too.
I have a gun in my briefcase is the Mayday t-shirt that we're all waiting for. Oh gosh, that was fun. That's great. Keep in mind, this is one floor of 3 of this place. There's a lot more to uncover, but that everyone is kind of split up right now. So next week, who knows? Maybe you all sort of be like, come back together and everyone leaves and says, things are fucky, and you all decide what to do next. Or maybe not. Maybe you all do
Animal
independent.
teas. And we'll have a himbo back, hopefully.
Yeah, oh god. Add one fireman. Oh my gosh, that's the closing scene. This dude peels out, and then right behind him is a big Chevy Silverado, and out steps a fireman who says,
Maurice does not get out of the car. I get in his car, and we go.
okay, great. Good.
Oh, that's
He
fun.
looks at-
Immediate high-speed chase.
He looks at you with his mustache, and he goes, false alarm. Like that.
No, very real alarm. Get going.
5
And that's
alarm.
where we'll pick up next time, Turk. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for being here. Thanks to our sponsors, Epidemic Sound, who do spooky music and hospital sounds for me. Thank you to Lost Caravan, which is the perfect home for this game. We love it. Join the Lost Caravan Discord, or else I'm going to send a creepy person after you. And that's a threat. So let's go around. I want to check in with my players and see what takeaways you had from tonight. Colin, Magnolia trying to restrain himself both for charisma reasons and also for trauma reasons is very delightful. And that's my Colin moment for today.
Yeah, it's like you can't get a... Normally you're like, oh, what a good one-liner. There were no one-liners this time around at all.
It was not goofy very much.
The boy was not speaking.
No, he wasn't. We'll see how he handles next week with the party split in half in a high-speed car chase. Colin, what's up with you? What you got going?
Well, hold on. Let's just, my ritual. We have to put Magnolia to
glasses
bed.
off.
Everyone say goodnight.
Everyone say goodnight to Magnolia. Yeah.
Goodbye. Good night, y'all. All right. So.
Whoa, Colin!
I know. You're shocked.
Where did you come from?
I believe it or not, I've been here the whole time, and I know that that's jarring for you,
especially after the session we just had.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you could tell how immersed I was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Magnolia. I love this fucking weirdo. But like this was really fun for me. I'm just like, I am gonna see if I can get through an episode being functionally mute and just like, can I make that still kind of fun for me? Short answer is no. It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. And it was like, but what was kind of fun is like I've done this in another game. It was still I still had fun. It's not as
Okay.
fun. I'll be honest. I'm not saying I didn't have fun. I still had fun. It's just not as fun as when I'm getting to like interact as much. But like what was fun was that there was a fun challenge of like how can I still have Magnolia contributing things to scenes and contributing things to the knowledge of the environment while not talking, basically.
Right.
So I was doing a lot more like scanning for information and trying to glean stuff. The issue I ran into why it was hard was I would get that stuff and then be like, okay, cool, I have that information now. Now how do I communicate that to anybody else?
Right.
You know, and at a certain point I just like literally like leaned over and like whispered something into Nayday's ear, like so that was hard. Like I'm like I can't communicate with hand signals to everybody. But yeah, that was fun. I like literally just set myself a role play challenge to see if I could do it. And the short answer is no, I'm not very good at it, but it was still fun.
I'll say maybe it wasn't goofy fun, but it was probably rewarding.
Sure, yeah, character building.
How about this? It was rewarding for me. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean it was, and I still got to have fun with everybody else, and I was particularly fond of just kind of sitting back and watching the way y'all work tonight. Particularly, I want to give a shout out to Liv. Liv's gentle questioning of Ed and Tom was like my favorite thing of this episode. It was
very nice.
Really well done. Really well done. Of like engaging and validating, but not being condescending. It was just really good.
It was
like
good
social worker level. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah. So yeah, I don't got anything going on. Do I? No, yeah, not really. I own a game company. You can check that out. Six String Games.
Eventually, you're not going to play a game of Die together.
Yeah, we got to play some Die together. I own a lot of fucking games that need to be played, so we're gonna play everything by Rowan Rook and Decker together. But yeah, I got nothing going on. That was super fun, guys. I'm so glad we're weekly now. I gotta say that. That's the best.
Me too.
And Turk, come back so we can all
miss our Himbo.
We miss you, Himbo.
Jumped right into a high-speed chase.
Mm-hmm.
Turk, if you don't bring that fine ass back over here.
Speaking of fine asses, Cyberella, Maple was great tonight because you played. She was shooketh, you know,
super shooketh,
and that scene which you just drew and put in our chat channel, which is just slayed me because that's exactly what it was. You did that so well, and just seeing Maple try to like keep it together in the face of somebody like really scrutinizing them and getting real close and pushing buttons, you know, was really nice. You did that very well. So
yeah,
thank
you.
You
did also, of course, very well in that one. It was difficult for Maple not to bring up one of her traumas actually in that moment, but she kept herself from doing so. So go Maple. But yeah, I'm Cyberella Draws, and you can find me on like my Twitter and my Blue Sky under Cyberella Draws, and my Tumblr under Sootchild. I did draw a couple of things from this session, so I'm gonna post them up there in a little bit. Otherwise, you can just find me here. I'm here.
And I'm hoping that they'll be up on the Lost Caravan Discord too. And for the second week in a row, I am here to demand a public Delta Green channel on the Lost Caravan Discord so we can just put up the pictures that Cyberella draws and the stupid memes that we send each other during the show. Yeah, because some of the ones from tonight are fabulous. Just so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love it. Thank you, my friend. Okay. Let us keep going. Oh, it's Lonnie next. It's Lonnie. Lonnie.
Yes.
You've got a briefcase with a gun in it.
I have a gun in my briefcase, and there's a guy running away from me.
I loved that also. I mean, this is a character thing for Mayday, is that she wants to be a woman of action. She wants to do things. And today you got that chance by tailing Richard Bryce, and you took it. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, this character is really interesting because I am like I'm usually not the person that like jumps into action and I'm like, oh no, like I shouldn't break away from the group. I shouldn't go do this thing. And now I'm just like, no, but this character would. Like this character is just like, first of all, I would not have shut off my phone when I knew that somebody that I knew was calling me and being like, it's urgent, like please call me back. Like Lonnie would freak out and be like, what? Who died? So shutting off my phone,
That's
chasing
still
after
there.
a dude that has something in his bag, and I have a theory, and I'm gonna ask you about it afterwards.
I love that.
And now I'm dragging Turk into it too, unbeknownst. Well, kind of known to him now because I told him about it. But I'll get back next week with Mayday just frantically getting in the car, getting in his car, and being like, "Follow that car."
It's like floor it. Yeah, it's terrific.
I know this lifted pickup truck can do that.
And it also means that this week I need to go and see what the rules are for chasing in this game.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Well, it depends. Are you chasing him or are you tailing him? Right? Because you could either be like trying to catch up to him, or you could be like, let's follow this bitch and see where it goes.
I think it's gonna be a let's follow this bitch and see where it goes thing if he hasn't blocked that I tried to physically grab his bag.
And he didn't.
Yes.
From what you would tell him.
Yeah. So I think we'll see how I feel next week.
I can't wait to hear your theory. And I can't wait to tell you what is the reality of it.
I'm probably wrong, but
maybe you're not. Maybe there is no wrong. Maybe everything is an illusion.
That sounds like Delta Green to me.
Oof. Tell me about it. Live in a day. One of my favoriteest people. I have two moments, okay?
Oh my gosh, I feel so spoiled.
You are. Yeah, well, you're a princess, and here they come. Your Agent Margin moment for today was, like Colin said, the questioning, especially with Ed, who is aggressive and irrational and manipulative and just kind of unpleasant in a lot of ways. I like pushing buttons with him. You know, I like to say annoying things and like really like, you know, needle people.
Yeah.
And Margin did that very well. My live moment for the day was that your dog ate your notes. And that was very funny.
Fucking absurd. Like I grew up with dogs and I've never had a dog eat my homework moment. And the thing is, like, it wasn't even homework. Like I was actively doing that. Like I needed that in this moment. It was an assignment.
Yeah.
He's asleep.
Liv, what else are you doing? You working and playing Delta Green?
Yeah, I'm working and I'm playing Delta Green. And honestly, that's the only thing I'm doing right now.
Could be worse.
It could be a lot worse. I could not be playing Delta Green. All of my other shows have taken a hiatus for the month. So you will find me here if you want to find me.
Sweet. Well, thank you for being here. Thank all of you for being here. You are all some of my favorite people. And I'll echo what Colin said. Weekly is so nice. It's so nice because we can just keep this story moving because I need to know what happens next. I learned how to end on beats from Colin. And I just love ending them that way and be like, come on. So I hope you come back next week. Stick around. We are probably going to raid someone who, surprise, we don't know. So find out. Join our Discord. Go and buy Delta Green from Arc Dream Publishers. It's a cool system, and they've got new stuff coming out all the time. They have all these new campaigns that have come out since Impossible Landscapes that I like want to do and play. And Colin's on the cover. Colin's love child with Joshua Jackson and Ewan McGregor is on the cover of that book. So thank you to Arc Dream also for making such a great game and for Dennis Titler for writing it. We are going to, you bastard, you're going to make me say this. We're going to go rate our friends at Tabletop Titties and just tell them we all said hello and we love them. Okay. And we'll see you next week. All right.